I mean, he should have a phone just for the show. Like,
a
I
separate
have,
phone. I keep
yes,
telling him that. Yeah.
yes. I segregate all my stuff so that I have a separate device just for anything, excuse me, that I do on here.
Right, but he just don't. And I don't understand why. So
Sometimes you just have to, you
I
have to
think that's
force.
an age thing. Like older people
Exactly.
just get set in their ways.
Yep.
Oh, this is cool. The way this background is.
I was watching the Yankee game. They lost, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, my father was watching it too. I think whenever Spike Lee is in attendance, it never works out.
He is bad luck. He's
I
been
think
bad luck for the
so.
Knicks for decades, I would say.
Right. What am I doing here? Okay, hi. Okay, I'm just playing around with some stuff here. So I text him, I text him the link. So hopefully he comes on. Hey, hello Mel. Shout out to everybody on YouTube.
He could come on his laptop too if he.
He doesn't have a laptop. That's the problem. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, he doesn't have any. He had an iPad, but I think that broke or something. So he ordered a new iPhone and iPad, and they said it's not coming it's not coming until November. And I think because he added all this extra stuff on it, I don't know, but yeah. So hopefully I'm gonna call him to see. That's why it takes him a minute, to come on. What is this?
Understood.
I'm still setting up on this end. That's why I'm like not really like paying attention. Shout out to everybody on YouTube. Hey, Hello, Jackie.
I just got a fresh bottle of tequila. I can't wait to open it up.
Yeah, so this is Tuesday. This is just Joe Brown's space. And we're waiting for him. And but I put, hashtag the shutdown, hashtag geopolitics, and of course open mic. People could come up. It's still early. So we probably won't finish until maybe like 1. I ain't trying to be up here all night. But I like Trump trolling, honey, with the Hakeem Jeffries and the sombrero.
Did you see, Dana? Did you see the other one? He took the Pokemon, got to catch them all, and he he had it
No.
posted from ICE. It was sick.
Put it in the jumbotron or something, and put it in the
I will.
jumbotron and in the little blue pill. Like,
I'm loving it. I literally feel like I'm in the White
my
House.
thing is, who's coming up with these memes, like to give to him or do? I know because he don't got time to be coming up with this shit. I need someone that could be creative like that.
It's Barron. It's Barron and his
and his crew,
cadre.
Crew, yeah.
Yes.
That's what I want. Like, yo, because that shit is hilarious.
And the best is watching people get triggered.
I
like
know,
the righteous
so
indignation.
A press conference. What was that? The Capitol steps. Like, come say it in my face. Like, dude, like, what are you doing?
It's so good.
They're like, oh, that's so racist. He only talking about the illegals. Hello says, what do you think about the government shutdown?
I don't know if you saw too, like there was 300 ICE agents that were like literally rappelling into places in Chicago to grab people today.
I think they rounded wait, let me pull it up because I just saw that headline. They rounded up 300 L Trail, whatever. But yeah,
Tren de Agua.
How you pronounce it?
Tren de Agua.
Tren de Agua.
That's right.
Well, they're labeled as terrorists, domestic terrorists organization. And yes, ICE stay in Chicago. ICE got their ass up out of it. Yes. The federal border agents with the snipers do all that. Yes.
And supposedly Trump is staging right now to go take out Maduro, which, I mean, that's going to be incredible once that happens. I mean, we'll put a whole new regime, and that'll put a check on Putin because they control what happens in Venezuela with all the oil and everything. So I think we're going to see a new Monroe Doctrine, basically, shutting off um, any part of the Western and Southern Hemisphere in the West from any Chinese or Russian involvement. I think that's what's coming.
So what? Because Venezuelan have a connection with Russia.
Absolutely, they're communist, and they are supporting them because of the oil reserves that they have. So Putin's
Well,
heavily involved with
Venezuelans,
them.
they're not
The China,
communists; they're socialists.
that's the same thing. Socialism posits that the only way to get to
I think
communism,
no,
which should be
because
ultimate.
even in the United States, we have a little bit of socialism. We have some socialist programs when you talk about Social Security and Medicaid and stuff like that, food stamps, which is fine. But this is not a communist country because to me, communist is more like this. That's another word for dictatorship. Like North Korea is communist. Oh, they go to judge. Okay, so that's why he wasn't picking up because he was coming on here. But I didn't know that Russia was partnering or supporting Venezuela like that. Because I know Venezuela at one point was helping Cuba, but then they had to stop helping Cuba because it was going through their own oil crisis. And I know Russia was helping Cuba decades ago, but I didn't know Venezuela and Russia was cousins like that, distant cousins. Oh, let me send you the. Oh yeah, I sent you the co-host.
Yeah, and especially Cuba. Especially
Calamel
Cuba.
says, hi, Peter. Hey, Peter.
Hey, good to see you.
Well,
Thanks for coming. Like and
that's
retweet the
not his
space,
name. His
guys.
name is
What's up, people?
Loki. And what are your pronouns again, Loki?
What's up, Corey? My pronouns are tax exempt and devastatingly handsome.
Which is lies. All lies.
I had a wonderful conversation earlier today with this guy Dion, who was running for president at one point, or is now.
Job.
He was not happy with me because he pulled up a tweet I had about me nominating Daniel Penny for the Congressional Medal of Honor for getting rid of Jordan Neely. And he was trying to say that he cooked me because he said that everybody who testified in that trial was a liar, and that the jury was also full of like white supremacists, even though they were black. And I said, well, why don't you come on Judge's show and tell me about how eyewitness direct testimony is actually hearsay? And he declined. He wouldn't. He's like, I'm going to stay on code. I'm not going to talk bad about any other black person. And I said, oh, okay, well,
who was
I'm sure people take you seriously.
Talking bad about
Judge, because almost all the talking points that I posited about Mr. Neely and
but how would he be talking bad about the judge? Why don't he be having a conversation with him, whether he agree or disagree? Like, why don't you know what I'm saying? That's so he's saying he want to stay on code and not engage in a conversation. So not engage in a conversation, you're staying on some bullshit ass code. That makes no sense. It's like TSU
exactly
all over again. However, or this woman would say, I'm sorry, Judge, 1 second. Why though? Why are these old white men, and it could be black or whatever, but why are these older men going on college campuses now? Okay, Charlie Kirk, he was what, 31, so he was relatively kind of young. But what is these middle-aged men? Because one of the guys from Freedom Tours or whatever is middle age, like in his 40s, and now you got Steven Crowder. We don't want to see college kids don't want to see you old ass men or middle aged men.
Steven Crowder did it before Charlie Kirk.
I don't care. He's middle age. How old is he? 50?
I don't know.
Just about.
Yeah,
Just
like
about.
sit your ass down.
But
you need to have your adult kids go debate. Like, it needs to be, you, if you're over 35, stop going on college campuses, because that's a little bit of, that's weird to debate college students. Under 35, and really 30 and under, but under 35, what is with these middle-aged men wanting to go back and forth with college students? Now, the whole debate thing, fine, but come on, y'all, sit your old ass down. That's all I want to say about him.
Well, people would say Crowder crawled so Charlie Kirk could walk, right? So
Well,
he was
Charlie
really
Kirk
the original
already
like
walked
debate.
and he got shot and he's in the bosoms of Jesus right now. So again, Charlie Kirk surpassed his ass as far
Praise
as
God.
being popular. Sit your ass. Ain't nobody tell you to pick up that mantle. Ain't nobody tell you to go. No, I'm just saying the optics of these older men, middle-aged men hopping on college campuses to go back and forth with kids, well, not kids, young adults that are the same age as your kids. Like, come on.
I agree. I think so. I don't have a problem with it, but I think it would be much more. It would be better for them to start raising up some of these pups and training them to go out and preach the good word, right? That are of age. So I think, leaders create leaders, right? So I was actually thinking about, because I don't want to have children, I was thinking about potentially starting like a league or a school of extraordinary gentlemen where I have orphans that I train in different types of martial arts and different types of like trade craft and debate skills, and then I send them out into the world, to propagate what I think the country should be doing. I think that would be amazing.
Before I get to the speakers, we got to bring the judge in. Judge, can you hear us, honey? Because you on mute.
Hey, Judge, can you hear
He's
us?
I hear
muted.
you pretty well.
Oh, okay.
Good to
He's
see you.
out and
How are you?
about. He's at a club.
I'm doing all right.
Excuse me. Nice. Very
He at a
nice.
club, honey. I don't know why he think people don't know no better, but all right. So yeah, make
I'm
sure
not
you do stay
hiding.
on mute. No, but you have to stay on mute because you're out in public. You in a public restaurant.
I'm watching for the National Guard who have been deputized as U.S. Marshals in plain
But my
clothes.
thing is, why are you? Why would she want you to take her to dinner past 9 o'clock?
You know how that should go.
Well, no,
No reception at the house.
right. So you decide to go to a pub.
Why not? Get a bite.
But who are you with?
Don't try to put all my business out there.
We ain't doing
But
that.
you,
We
but you
ain't doing
putting
that.
your business out there by being at a pub, honey, late at night. And so I'm just saying, honey, Miss Thing should have said, "Come get me at 8 and then drop me off at home by 10." But Miss Thing wanted to be out after 9. You got to watch these women nowadays. Anyway, all right. I don't know. Look, how long you want to be in there? Because this is your space, honey. Me and Peter
I'll
just
get
helping you
back on like I
facilitate it.
did the last time. I'm listening. Let everybody deal with it. And please, no victimization tonight. Let's talk about stuff that helps out tomorrow.
I.e., no white supremacy talk. All right, so Peter, should we just go to the first speaker, which is Corey, Big Daddy, and Linda?
Let's do it, Corey. Great to see you, man. How the hell you been?
I'm good, man. I can't complain. I'm doing my thing. I just had a space earlier, just asking if the left or the right, who's worse in political violence, or and I think for the most part people are trying to divide because now the big talk is, was he left wing or right? That in itself I just think is dicey because now we're just trying to separate and say they're part of your clan, part of your tribe, and guess what? Now we can ostracize that person. Not just ostracize that. I don't care about the actual perpetrator of somebody. Let's just say Tyler Robinson. I don't care about him. But just to say, hey, look, you all are violent. And I think what people are trying to do is give you that label so they can't humanize you. It makes them easier to hate you. So now it's a look, they're MAGA, or they're um, liberal, or Antifa, or anti-fascist, how do you say it? Everybody's trying to find a way to dehumanize each other so they can justify their hate. And then I disagree with you. You said earlier about Steven Crowder or men being too old to go debate. I think with all of this panels and everything, I don't think we check each other's ages. I think either there's some type of wisdom. We always say pass down the wisdom that you may have to someone that's younger, not just impressionable, but they're looking for answers. And I think that's what Steven Crowder, Charlie Kirk, or even, I don't know, but I think Cam Higby and the other guy, they might be a little young. I don't know necessarily their ages, but I think there should be a conversation. I think people should be able to talk. I think people should be able to express their views and everything, and set the record straight. That's the way we get innovation. Whether someone's too old or not, if that was the case, as to what you say, then I wouldn't think the judge would be here. But hey, that's just my thoughts.
Where you at, Corey? Because you got a whole bunch of stuff going on in the background.
I am at work driving a truck.
Oh, okay, never mind. Oh, I saw Big Daddy. He dropped down. Hi, Linda. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I want to talk about the budget. I wanted to get the some illumination on the budget and to share in Michigan. In Michigan, the state does not have a passed budget. Again, it is down to political chambers. The House, controlled by Republicans, passed the budget, and the Senate, controlled by Democrats, passed a budget, but did not meet to ensure that the budgets they met in the middle. They did not meet in the middle, and they're not budging. So Michigan is not going to have a budget. They say that they're not going to shut down, which is farcical because they cannot expend any money according to our Constitution until a budget is approved by the legislature and signed by the governor. And then now in our nation's capital, they have until midnight to decide whether or not to pass the budget. People are saying that this is political jockeying, and it absolutely is political jockeying. A continuing resolution to keep the budget as is what the Republicans have the votes for. And they need in the Senate, I think 3 or 4 Democrats to join with every single Republican. And this is egregious that we're at this point politically where the left, the Democrat Party, are not in power, have lost power because of the voter, not because of a one person. Donald Trump did not elect himself, and nor did the House or the Senate elect themselves. It was by the people who placed them there and put Republicans in the majority. And somehow we've got the left using the budget and government shutdown as a tool to get back with their hatred for Donald Trump. And what I believe is true, and I just want clarification, is that when the government shuts down, it gives the president more power, which is stupid. They don't want him to have power, but it gives him more power to keep the government open. That is my understanding, and please help me if I'm wrong. But from all that I've read, President Trump will have more power tomorrow than he does today because Congress cannot make up. Congress, by Article 1 of our Constitution, is made up of 535 members, 435 members should have the right and the responsibility to handle the purse strings of our nation. And because they cannot agree, it goes to the president. That is my understanding. I'm just looking for answer if that's incorrect or correct.
As far as I'm concerned, I think you're correct, right? And it actually gives him the power to eliminate and trim a lot of the fat that's been um, holding down the country for years now. So yeah,
Linda, mute up.
it does give him
Linda,
more
mute up
power.
because it's a
Oh,
feedback.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gives him more power to do that, right? So he's going to be able to get rid of a lot of the people who should have been not on the public dole for years already. So the Democrats are dying on this hill with illegal immigrants, saying that they want the cuts back, and I, I don't. This all they're doing is giving more fodder for 2026 in the midterms. So I don't know what the strategy is, or if there even is a strategy. But if Schumer and Pelosi and the old guard are still running things, anybody who's young and a Democrat might want to try to take the reins from them, because I feel like they're running the ship right into the lighthouse at this point. So
Yeah, I've heard that too. If it is a government shutdown, he obtains more power. And I also heard that, I'm going to side with the Republicans or definitely on not approving the Democrats portion of the bill, because they want to keep the illegals to have health insurance. And they could probably agree on everything else or negotiate everything else, but the Republicans are not having that, and the American people don't want that. So I don't understand, why are the Democrats making these false headlines of, oh, X amount of people are going to lose their insurance, X amount of people are going to lose that. And it's really the illegals. Stop giving the illegals all of this free stuff. They're not taxpayers. They just came over here. And even if they've been here, they're illegal. So I heard that, however it's worded, they're trying to keep that in the budget. And the Trump administration and Republicans are like, hell no. So, but and I agree with that. Hell to the no. So we may be, we're going to be headed towards a government shutdown. And right now, Trump is winning the public. What do you call it?
Public opinion.
Yeah, he's winning a public opinion. Because the Democrats, you did a press conference because he did a fucking meme of you wearing a sombrero. Like, come on. So that tells me you're deflecting from the issue at hand, and that is pass responsible budget that's going to exclude illegals. And y'all can't even do that. They're still caping for these illegals by any means necessary, which is why I would never support the Democrats at all, because they want the illegals to stay so that they can monopolize Congress
and get more votes, right? That's who they know their whole base is. That's the only way they survive or have a snowball's chance, is to import more votes, because they know their opinions are so unpopular. So what do? You guarantee that I'm going to give away free stuff, and that's how you get people to vote. I think it's been nothing but it's been delicious to watch the old videos of Schumer literally touting the talking points of MAGA right now, from the 90s about illegals and why we need to get it under control, and why we need to punish the individuals who are employing them and get them out of the country and lock it down. And now he's totally on the opposite side, because they realize the only pathway for their Marxist, transgender, ideological, psychotic vision of America is through giving things away to freeloaders. And I'm excited that President Trump has the power he has now. And this is what a time to be alive, as Aubrey Graham has said.
Well, President Obama was the deporter in chief. He had the vision to deport illegals out of our nation. He was the number one president to deport, and yet his party, which does not look like his party anymore, is trying to keep them in. The superintendent in Des Moines, Iowa, voted in Maryland. He was a registered Democrat, and he voted in Maryland and other places. So he wasn't just making $270,000 a year as the superintendent. He was actually voting as though he were a U.S. citizen in each election and registered Democrat. That is what the Democrats have approved of and are fighting for, is a new voting bloc. And they believe that illegals will be grateful and work for little or nothing. It's just a human trafficking issue that 200 or 300,000 children that were brought into this country without parents went missing in this country, and they found many of them being trafficked, the ones that they were able to find that were still alive. They were being human trafficked. This is the Democrat Party. I'm not just saying that because to be political, but it is, they don't read the room and they become human traffickers, terrorists, and they are disjointed. And I have no idea what happened to that political party. I have no idea. But as of tomorrow, President Trump will have more power because of their inactivity, I'm hearing.
Absolutely.
When is
And Linda,
the
I'm
government supposed to shut down tomorrow?
tonight,
Midnight.
12 a.m.
Oh,
tonight. Yeah. We got a few hours. We got literally what, hour and a half? So we'll be in the space when it shuts down.
so
Exciting,
Palamel
exciting,
said in
exciting.
YouTube, most people don't want to shut down. Well, people don't want to be inconvenienced. You know, the American people, I get it. No matter what party you claim to be a part of or whatever, but but to me, that's what the Democrats is banking on. Because the average American, you don't want the inconvenience. But so the Democrats are keeping stuff in that bill for illegals, and then they're told, and well, you're gonna piss off the American people and you're gonna make their life an inconvenience. So you might as well keep this thing in here. You know, they're trying to use that.
If I might interject, about 35 years ago, some of the press decided to make it a hot item by saying the government's shutting down. It doesn't really shut down. It's just that there is no money to dispense for options, and federal employees may go without a timely paycheck.
Well, they can get unemployment or something, right? And don't they get that money back when the government opens up this, that
Generally,
back?
yes, but as I said, it was just a ploy to get people to tune in to the news channel, specifically CNN, which was just starting up in those days, and the newspapers.
So, so the whole term government shutdown is propaganda.
Judge, does HUD and Section 8 still pay out? Because I was in a space earlier and somebody was worried that their Section 8 tenants weren't going to be able to pay their rent, and they would be evicted from
They
landlords.
can't be
Is that
that
Section
wouldn't
8?
happen because there's an agreement the landlord's going to sign relative to Section 8, which would prohibit that kind of situation.
Was that a
Okay,
Democrat?
but the payments would still go through, or they would cease.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I had cut you off. I was asking you a question.
No, I was. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, what were you saying?
My question was: would the payments from HUD for Section 8 still go through to the landlords, or in the event of a shutdown, or would they cease until the government a bill is signed and the government reopens? Essentially.
What's up, everybody?
What's up, Isaac?
So that's for the judge to answer, right?
Yeah, I was asking the judge that question, and maybe he can't hear right
I
now.
can hear you.
Okay. Did you hear what I said about if the payments would still go through, or they would
can't
cease
do an
until there's a
eviction under
new?
the Section 8 situation under those circumstances, so everybody is just on hold. And the Section 8 tenant might
Okay.
have a rent that's $2,600 a month, but what happens? He pays $11, so they get a massive subsidy.
But I
Right.
was going to
So
ask you, Loki, who said that? Was that a Democrat liberal person who made that comment saying, "Oh, people going to get kicked out of Section 8"?
oh yeah, it was the brother Lloyd Kelly in his space, which I got kicked out of once they realized I was in there, which is always hilarious to me. I'm not even allowed to listen. It's
Oh
so funny.
wow. Hi Isaac.
Hey, what's up to y'all? I see y'all having y'all space, and I saw that it was sort of like a geopolitics that was sort of open, so I wanted to bring up a topic if that was okay.
Yeah, it's still open mic.
Sure.
Okay, so I just happen to remember the last time I was in the room, I happened to be in here talking about H-1B visas, and just through serendipity, I want to talk about it again. The reason why I want to talk about it is because I live in a tech area. And Trump just did this thing with the H-1Bs where he put like $100,000 on all the new visas, not annually, but it'll be a fee attached to it. So me living in a tech town and around a lot of people who work in tech, I was able to find out very quickly that about 70 to 75% of H-1B visas are done by Indians, okay? And it's not like it's an Indian thing, but that sent me down the rabbit hole about what the H-1B visa situation is. So dig this. Not only do these people, and I'm not saying Indians because I'm accusing them, I actually saw Indians talking about other Indians who take advantage of this H-1B visa program. So basically, there's somewhere between fraud where they basically fake their entire history in India and they're able to get the H-1B visa and come to America and compete over us, or they come to America as a student or as some type of immigrant, and then they get hooked up with these hiring companies that are also Indian. Okay, what these hiring companies do is they fake a resume for them to act like they got the experience. They get them hired over American workers. And then while the employees at work during the day faking like they know the job, the employer who's also in, like the contractor employer, they have facilities in their offices where they actually teach the immigrant how to do the job. So basically, the immigrant can come to America, fake the documents, get the job, and learn on the job while all of the Americans have to go to school to get the knowledge and then apply for the jobs. But dig this, it gets worse. Not only that, they got another group that comes over here and goes to fake schools and gets fake degrees from these diploma mills, and then they do the same thing. And I said all that to say this: the reason why Trump put the $100,000 tariff on the H-1B visa wasn't all that. It was to stop the fraud that was leading to a form of slavery in the United States of America. So basically, the people who use H-1B visas, but specifically tech companies, put the employees in such a way where they basically can threaten them that if you don't do what we say, we're going to fire you. And that automatically leads to deportation back to India. So these people have literally been worked like slaves since they set up this H-1B visa situation. And everything's about to change once they have to pay the $100,000. But just to let you know, there was a form of slavery going on in America with these H-1B visas that was making a whole slave employee network that can outcompete you every day of the week because they could take less wages, work double the time, and they couldn't even complain about it. And while I'm not sure Black people understand how this impacts them now, what I'm trying to put out in the ethos is that this has impacted them for the last 15 to 20 years with employment, benefits, generational wealth, better resources. And this H-1B visa fee changes all that. So I want Black people to be aware of it for one thing, because I want them to take advantage of what's about to happen. Also, I want to make them aware of the fact that there is still slavery happening here, right? And I'm not talking about the things where, it could be akin to that. This is one that was happening under our nose and affecting our communities. So I just kind of wanted to talk about that.
And so, Isaac, what type of jobs would that be? Are those mainly tech jobs that are going to be affected by that? Can you hear me, Isaac?
I
Can
I hear
anybody hear
you.
me?
Yes, it is tech jobs. It's tech jobs that are mostly impacted that they're bringing in, and some skilled labor.
Isaac, you're on mute. Maybe he's trying to get off mute.
What?
Did you?
Can you hear us?
What, did somebody ask me a question? I didn't hear that.
Oh, can you hear me, Isaac?
Isaac, can you hear Loki?
No, I can hear you.
Oh, you can hear me.
All right, let me cycle him, and then I'll bring him right back up.
Okay. He's gonna
Great,
drop you
great.
down, bring you right back up.
While I'm doing that, Linda, it sounds like that's going to be ripe for training for anybody who's in the community that wants those particular
And don't you
positions.
know, real quick, I talked about this on my show, and I need to find that clip again. That this girl put up a TikTok short of it's like a grant that you can apply for, and it pays for you to go to a trade school or something. It was under the Trump administration. I gotta pull that thing up, but yeah, it's go ahead.
If I might make an observation, isn't it rather an oxymoron situation to be able to afford $100,000 stipend to get into the country and then to be reduced to a condition of nigh on to servitude in your work?
Wait, not only that, but the people who were coming over, and I got this from an Asian who knows these cultures very much more than me. Basically, what they're doing is they're mostly hiring and bringing people over in the Brahmin class, okay? Because American employers, we don't know about that culture. So while we think that they're hiring other Indians because they're skilled, they can literally know by the Indian's last name what caste they come from, what family they come from in India, and a lot of them are bringing over just the Brahmin class. Like there's all type of shit going on up underneath our noses right now.
Well, that said, the Brahmins aren't going to allow themselves to work in a condition of servitude. One of the things that is of attraction when you deal with the Indian culture, particularly the Hindu aspect, is the educational system they go through is a lot more rigorous, and it is caste and class conscious. So if you come in at the top, you've got a pretty good education, and they have English as a national language, and it's the second most populous country in the world. So there is a lot of talent there, and that's why they come over and take over things, because they get into
No
the
doubt, there's a lot of
technological
talent.
aspect, whereas others do not.
I was just gonna say, no doubt, there's a lot of talent, but what the Indian community is trying to let out is there's a lot of fraud, though.
That I believe, Isaac.
Sure, and that's widespread within all cultures, and that's what happens a lot. So there is a high percentage of it over there because the culture that is involved is not quite as into law and order as we are. They're into a different kind, but there are things where, depending upon your caste, certain things that for a lower caste might be deemed unacceptable or okay for those at the top. And right below the Brahmin caste, you have the warrior caste who's supposed to guard them. So it's an interesting setup, but it's poisonous. And I'm surprised that when Kamala had the opportunity to do something, she did absolutely nothing to stop it, which could have happened in terms of immigration policies. But anyway, that's another issue.
Thank you for speaking on it, Judge Joe.
Thank you, Isaac.
Appreciate it, Isaac.
Yeah, that was very informative. But stay up, Isaac, just in case you want to add something else. So I'm going to go to Indy and Deborah. Deborah's another tech person. What was it? Finance, Deborah? I don't know, but
Hi, everybody. Haven't been here in a minute. It's
yeah.
tech. I've just, You know, when I had a background in mathematics, so
It
you
wasn't
cross.
your turn, ma'am. It was
Oh, I'm sorry.
it was me.
I know
Oh,
it's your
sorry.
turn, and she was just greeting people.
Sound like she was about to go on. But
I actually wanted to talk.
Hello.
anyway,
That
I was gonna say shout outs to Dana and the co-host. Um, I was listening to what Isaac was saying and how the judge was like piggybacking what he was saying, and I don't want to. As a black person in America, I don't want to get uh, uh duped into this Trump is gonna stop slavery type of argument. Like I'm supposed to feel some type of way about it when black people have been excluded and been put last on the totem pole, and now I'm seeing uh the civil rights department of the DOJ being people being fired and it being minimized, basically closed, no discrimination lawsuits they've been kind of blocked or haven't been able to be filed. These types of new initiatives that are coming in that are blocking or trying to get rid of specific policies that were set in the 50s and 60s because specifically for black people and the discrimination and exclusion that we have faced that had nothing to do with immigrants. It was just black and white. So I just want y'all, I don't want to, go down that path where it's like, oh, Trump is going to stop this Indian slavery and we're going to, it's going to open up so many jobs for blacks. But if the people that's in position can still discriminate and not hire you and you can't sue them for discrimination or you can get fired or you can't still access it, I'm just not a person who has faith or I'm going to believe in the fact that they just going to start hiring a mass amounts of black people when I'm watching 350,000 black women be fired in the last 6 months under the same administration. It's just bullshit. Please do not, please do not gaslight me or try to swindle like you've done for 400 years and brainwash people into believing that our damn enemy is now our savior or our friend. So I'm just saying that as a black person in America. Thank you very much.
Op-ed
Indy,
moment.
who
If
is
you
the enemy?
think
Just
we're
to be
getting
clear.
treated like slaves, look in the mirror. That's who's at fault. In this day and
No, I'm
time,
talking about
anybody
what
that's
y'all
treated,
just said
excuse me,
about
anybody,
Trump
I'm not going to debate
stopping
with
this
you on
Indian.
that. I'm not going to debate with you on that. Right now, I'm so sick and tired of people talking about their being victims. They need to get over it because if you're treated
No,
like one, it's your fault.
no.
Get over it. Get prepared to deal with the world and watch how you vote. Now, that
When you
said, I'm
had
out of
so
here.
many generations of discrimination, are you serious?
Trump is doing.
Yeah,
What
get
I'm
over
trying
it.
to
There are no
make
blockages
black
to getting
people
as
and just
far as you
people
want
who
in
are
this
in certain
country right
industries
now. Get
aware of
prepared.
is
Do
that
your
we've been
homework. Stop looking
competing
at
against a
basketball.
slave
Stop
market the
playing. Stop
entire.
listening to rap music. Start paying attention to science, technology, engineering, vocational skills. Get academic, and you can do is anything you want. Get as far ahead as you want to be. So just focus on that instead of the excuses. That's my op-ed for the evening, and I'm not going to touch it again because I'm sick and tired of us belaboring everything on, well, belaboring that point, and not focusing on anything else. But anyway, it's
Well,
interesting
we
listening
know
to
what these
that.
white men doing
The
out here.
guy,
You do too.
don't worry about them
You do
because
too,
they'll be a
Judge. You do
minority
too.
in about
You
five,
know what
six
these
years.
white men are doing.
Go ahead,
Uh,
Indy. You could clap back now if you want to clap back.
oh, somebody sent me the mic, so um,
Well, it's
Wait,
not your
Isaac.
turn,
Indy,
Shy.
it's not your turn. Indy hasn't landed yet, so just wait, please.
I mean, I didn't. Everybody was interrupting and muting my mic when I was trying to say something. So
I'm
you
not
know,
muting
Well,
nobody, Mike. So I don't.
I muted you while Judge was speaking because we can only hear one speaker at a time, and we wanted to hear Judge's response. Now, I would love to hear your response to what Judge said.
Probably because you was crying.
no, I partially agree with what Judge O'Brien is saying, but I'm saying, let's not dismiss a 400-year head start. Like, just act like that's not there. I can't do that.
I don't think he asked, or nobody's not asking someone to
No,
dismiss
there
400
are
years.
people that are saying that and trying to put that sentiment out there. They
Respect
may
is
not be saying
crazy.
those words, but to act like everything is fair across the board and you could just do whatever you want. That's why Terrence Crawford just won that big fight, and that cop was about to kill him the other damn night. So let's not play these
You
games.
going a
What?
little extreme. He wasn't going to do that, but
Wait,
Well,
I think
come on,
can
man.
people just stay
If
on their?
they would have
I
made
just
the
want people
wrong
to stay on
move
their
with their
mic, please.
hands, if they would have made the wrong move with their hands, one wrong movement, or he would have reached for his ID like they said, we've seen people reach for an ID or something and get shot. Like, but that's a person, I'm telling you, that got money and got treated like that because of their skin color. It wasn't about them advancing and how much money they had and prestige they had. It wasn't about none of that. It was about him being black.
yeah, I'm about to get that nigga wake up call. It's cool. It's part of America.
Can people just stay on their mic, please?
That wasn't no Negro wake up call. He knew he.
All right. Um, FYI, this is not a black space tonight. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So in the beginning of the space, and it is open mic. It's open mic. So even if you come up and you speak to a black issue, just to let you know, you say you're going to say your piece and we're going to the next person, but the overall thing of this space is it's not a black space. All day today, when I look at people's spaces, it was all black. You had all day to have your victim slavery, whatever, racial profiling conversations. This space isn't that, but it is open mic. So you could bring up out things outside of geopolitics, of course, but this is not going to be a lingering. It's not going to be a back and forth with white supremacy. And I don't want anybody.
With all
I
due
don't want.
respect, Dana,
Hold on
I
for
was
no.
responding.
Hold on. I'm not even finished yet. 1 second. I don't even want nobody bringing up the word white supremacy tonight. I just don't want. I can't deal with it. And the conversation with the shutdown with the H1Bs, that was some good conversations we were having, and I want to, I just want to make sure that it's a good dialogue. And yeah, no white supremacy. I don't want to hear the words white supremacy tonight. Go ahead and finish up and land, Indy, and I need to go to Deborah.
Okay, I'm about to land, but if I'm not mistaken, that was two black men speaking about another race that is coming into a white man's world, and you have a white president talking like he's trying to end Indian slavery. So I was responding to what two black men were talking about. They injected race. So I was discussing what they were talking about and how it relates to me as a black man and how I think about it in the same America. That's what I was doing. So if this is not a space black people are welcoming, or is this a white space, or what space is this? I didn't know
it's a
spaces
space,
had a
my brother.
race
It's
on
a
it.
space.
Did I say black people aren't? So are you telling me black people only talk about black issues? Like, so I didn't. Nobody
No,
here.
I
Nobody.
didn't. That's
So
not what
okay.
I
So
said.
so why are
That's
you
not what I said. I
projecting?
said what I
And this is,
said.
hold on for a second, Indy. Now let me talk. And this is why I said I'm gonna let you say what you got to say. Move on to the next speaker. You brought up Terrence Crawford. Now you're going down a rabbit hole of being racially profiled, and that's all well and cool. I'm just saying you're not going to get a back and forth engagement on that because again, Now you're projecting saying that are black people not invited? Ain't nobody say nothing like that. Because then I could say, are you telling me that black people only want to talk about black issues? Black people can't talk about geopolitics. Black people can't talk about the government shutdown. We're talking about a lot of
No,
things.
no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying I was responding to
I
the
know you were
judge
responding to the thing with
and
Trump,
another black
yeah.
man
And then you
talking.
started going down the rabbit hole of Terrence Crawford.
No, somebody made a comment and I responded to
No,
that.
nobody didn't make a
And
comment. You
no,
literally
somebody
put that
did
up
make
as
a
an
comment and I
example.
brought up
You brought
Terrence
it up.
Crawford
You
as an
brought up Terrence
example.
Crawford as part of what you were saying. Nobody else did.
It was
So
it was in response to what somebody was saying,
in
and
response to what?
I was using that Terrence Crawford as an example
Of
as to
what? You was
how
using it as your own example.
no, they
Nobody
were saying
nobody
something
was
I
about
think he was saying that white supremacy is alive and well, and they were checking Terrence Crawford
yeah,
by
but
what they did
nobody
the other
wasn't
night.
talking about white supremacy. See, Indy, you brought up Terrence Crawford on your own. Nobody didn't allude to it.
I never said white supremacy.
I know
I
you
brought him
didn't,
up as
Indy.
a example of why somebody was saying that that wasn't an issue for us.
What
Like
wasn't an issue?
there
I
weren't
think he
bigger
talking about
issues.
my nigga
You're
wake
the
up
only one saying
comment.
that. And that's what I'm trying to get at. So it's just like
No, they were like,
I
"Oh, you
know
need
you
to get
wait, hold
over
on.
this."
You're right. You did respond to Judge and Isaac with the H1B. Fine. You started going down a rabbit
No,
hole
y'all
when
trying to
you brought up
mischaracterize what
Terrence
I said. You
Crawford.
took it wrong.
You started going down a rabbit hole when you brought up
No,
Terrence
I
Crawford.
won't.
Yo, I'm not doing this fucking back and forth. Not tonight.
Well,
Not
that's
this
not what
week.
I was doing
Not
though.
this week. All
So
right, just say what you want to say and land because I gotta get to Deborah.
Dana, can you do me a quick favor? Can you remove me as co-host because I'm about to lose service and I have to come back in the room?
All right.
Thanks.
yeah, but all I was saying was I don't want to get lost in worrying about that when I have to worry about filing a discrimination lawsuit because I don't believe that once they stop all these Indians from in here, they're just gonna hire an influx of qualified black people because we seeing qualified black people be removed every damn day, and that's my point.
Being removed from where?
Uh, Pete Headstep, whatever his last name is, job. Um, 350,000 black women have been fired since this man took office. Uh,
That's
everywhere,
okay.
everywhere,
So
everywhere.
now you're
You
inflating the
haven't noticed
numbers.
black people
Wait,
getting
what did
fired?
I'm sorry, you said Pete. How did Pete Headset remove black people?
I said the man that he replaced was way more qualified than him.
So
I mean,
Okay.
Trump picked his
Never
he's
man.
mind,
not the
Dana.
man that
Never mind.
the
Never mind. I
man
see
that
what you're
he
doing. Never mind. Y'all can have it. Never mind.
I mean, Trump
Okay,
has to
can I
Trump
go
picked his
now?
cabinet. He's the
Is it my turn
president.
next?
why would you keep the man that he replaced was from another administration. Nobody keeps people from a prior administration. So you may disagree. You may think Pete Hegseth is not qualified, but that's who the current president picked. But all right, go ahead, Deborah.
Hi, everybody. I was trying to jump on Isaac's bandwagon because this has actually been happening since like Al Gore ran for office was like 2000. They began bringing in H-1Bs, and at the time I was at J.P. Morgan Investment Banking, and an African American woman told me if the H-1Bs came into your department to begin to look for a job, and at that time, it was Filipinos doing hardware setups. East Indians were coming in to do the coding. Um, there were mostly East Indians, and I've seen it in the classroom as well. Academic classroom, higher education, STEM. I've also seen it where they will come in. I was in a situation where I was learning systems administration, so you had to somebody broke a computer and you had to rebuild it and fix it and put all the parts together. And we had an Indian professor teaching us C, And there was another young black man and myself in the classroom. And anytime we asked a question or made a comment, he makes. And at the time, there were a lot of Sega Genesis coders in the classroom, and they told us on the last day, please stay in with us. And don't eat lunch. And so there's something about imploding and exploding code. They showed us how to do this in 15 minutes, and they accommodated the server away from the Indian guy who could not speak English at all. So this has been going on for a very long time. And now everybody else is beginning to see it. And black people were getting taken out of losing their jobs, but it was also white Americans. It was anybody that was American. It was not necessarily a black. Okay. And we were getting dislocated or fired or whatever you want to call it because of how much money we were making. And now I also believe because of the quality of work we were doing. So there's a lot more to this. And to the young man Izzy who wants to cut me off, he doesn't seem to like me. I've been in other rooms with him. I think he does not understand what's really going on. He's looking at television and talking from television, and a lot of those numbers may or may not be accurate. I'm at a point now, if I don't see the numbers myself, I don't necessarily believe it because there's a lot of propaganda on the television about all of this. And it's about the best and the brightest. It's not necessarily about race. And I've also had friends from home also be laid off or fired, but they were first made to train the H-1Bs. So there's a lot of this going on. And like I said, it's not necessarily about race. It's about how much money you're making. And it could be white Americans, Spanish Americans, Indian Americans, Black Americans, everybody that's American, that's over here, that's paid their dues, have student loans, was making a decent wage, and we lost our jobs because these guys were willing to take less. And I know for a fact that they took my resume off of monster.com, probably stuck their name on top of it, and was able to get jobs. So if anything, there needs to be some type of way where you can verify and validate somebody's qualifications. When I first got into the industry, you had to actually show somebody in a room that you could code and do the stuff that you were saying. But obviously, that's no longer the case, according to Isaac. And that's all I wanted to say. And you guys, this is a great conversation. And the Congress still gets their paycheck when the government shuts down. And this young woman here in New York, Stefanik, I think is her last name, she's saying that she's willing to not receive her pay while the government is shut down. And I think everybody needs to take a look at the Democrats who wants to keep getting their pay. And I'm hearing that they're shutting the government down because they want to make sure the illegals are keeping their Medicare. So that's what I'm hearing on this side. And that's all I got to say.
Can I say can I say something to what you said, Deborah, about the shutdown?
I
Only
think
if
I was
Judge
next, though.
Dana.
Yeah, I think I was next.
Yeah, Shy is next.
Okay.
Was it 30 seconds, Corey? I do let people rebuttal what someone was saying.
Yeah. No, it's not a
Go ahead.
rebuttal, but I did want to talk about it happened here in Illinois with the budget crisis that shut down and everything else. The same thing happened with the Democrats here. They actually sued the not attorney general, but the treasurer at the time, Susan Mendoza, because they wanted to keep getting paid while everything else was shut
Hmm.
down here. So that's all I wanted
Thank
to say.
you for that, Corey. Go ahead, Sha. So we have Sha Maria, the Black and Bay brother. Go ahead, Sha. Is it Sha? It's Sha,
Greetings.
right?
Yeah,
Okay.
Shaw is, yeah. Greetings, Dana. And we've encountered each other before.
Yes.
And
How are
Judge,
you?
it's always a pleasure to be in a space with you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
I really appreciate your experience and wisdom and knowledge because you have both the street and the law background and all of that, and good common sense. So, geopolitically, I have to say this. I hear you. I hear you, Judge, in saying that we need to be more. We need to talk more solution based and stop. Get out of the always identifying the problem, and a lot of times we get the victim part of that. But geopolitically speaking, I think that we really need to re-examine our 50 million of us, our existence in this so-called country, especially with what could be coming down the pike with Donald Trump not leaving office if he does not leave office. And even if he does, it he's pushed the system to the point now where to see how far he can go, whoever comes after him will probably take it to that next level, or at least where he's at now, to keep it where it's at. I think that we as a 50 million people need to be thinking about what we can do here to benefit from whatever we can, but be thinking about an exit strategy. I don't see us faring here really. I don't see us building a nation within a nation. I don't see us garnering the southern states and taking those over. Um, and I think that we need to pull ourselves together, with our money, and we need to vote as smart as we can, and whatever we can get from that as we start looking to relocate. And I think we should move to Africa. We should relocate to Africa.
Oh, please, they some sick fucks, man. They
Right.
killing me.
Well, and there's sick fucks here. This country is morally corrupt, and as you can see, it falling apart and deteriorating from the inside. So now you have a choice of sick fucks that you live with that don't care about you and that are marginalizing you, and sick fucks in Africa, right?
Oops, I'm sorry.
Right. And as
Hold on,
Ease
you
according to
off
can't
the
say that. You gotta get his
F word.
words
whoever
off.
said
Hold on.
Africa.
Ease off the F word, please. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, you gotta donate.
I keep forgetting. Let me just do a little PSA. Yes. If you want to say the F word, you have to cash at me $5. That's $ Dana with the data. $Dana with the data. Other than that, you can't say the F word. I totally forgot.
Okay. All right.
It's per F.
So
Per F.
Yes.
and the point that I'm making is that that uh geopolitically, we must be very, very astute as a people because things are moving really fast now. It's not just our condition here, but it's also in the world that can change our condition drastically. That is going to change because as this country is impacted by what's shaping and happening in the world, we're in the lowest man on the totem pole here, on average. So if that is the case, then we need to be thinking about the future for our grandkids and kids to come, and where we want to be and where we want to position. Because I can deal with the sick whatever's either here, I can deal with them here, but I can also deal with them in Africa. But the difference about Africa is that the young people who are now getting this information through social media, like what's happened in Madagascar lately, I don't know if y'all, since we talking about geopolitics, that they're having a revolution there. The young people have pretty much pushed the government to the brink. And the president fired all of his staff, his committee, his parliament is disbanded, dissolved, because he don't know what to do. This is what the youth in Kenya did. This is what was going on in Mozambique.
Where are
This
you
is
getting this information, though? How do you know it's actually accurate?
because I've been looking around at sources, and
You're
it
in
may not be
Africa. You're in Africa, and you know. You're in
no,
Africa, and you
it may
know.
not be totally accurate, but it is gonna be, when you get information from two or three different sources, there is some stuff going on in Mozambique.
What are your
There's some stuff.
sources? What are your sources? Who are your sources?
Subby is there's some YouTubes that I look at, and then I follow up with it on. I'll Google it to see if I really am interested in it. I'll Google it to see, and usually it'll come up also in Google. If it doesn't come up in the Google, then you have to start
No,
to
he's actually
wonder.
correct. There are uprisings in Nepal. They overturned that whole government and they did it via social media. There are several uprisings of young people in different regions of the world, and a few of them in Africa. I know Kenya was one of them. I didn't know Madagascar, but that would make sense because those people are, you talk about poor, like, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Can I
I'm
ask
curious
y'all a
because
quick
I
question?
want to. What is
Let
the
me let
GDP?
me land my plane,
Yeah, I'm
please.
sorry. Go ahead. Finish up. Go ahead, Zane.
So Togo, uh, Cameroon, and Ivory Coast as well is on the brink. The people are ready to turn those countries. Togo's in real disarray. They're in a real serious. Paul Biya in Cameroon is also, it's a farce. He's 92 years old. He can barely walk. So what happens in those countries are crucial for Africa to continue to move in the trajectory of the what the AES is doing, the Sahel, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger are doing. This impacts us greatly because the United States is watching this very closely, and every major country in outside of Africa is trying to or has some type of network in Africa and is either destabilizing to get what they need or negotiating to get what they need. So Africa needs to stay where it is for these countries that are outside of Africa to get what they want, which is always going to be the minerals. They want the raw minerals. They don't want any improved, things. They want to get the raw minerals. This impacts us greatly here in this country. And there's some other things that I won't go into, but that also impact us in this country with regards to Africa as well. But mostly it's about the money, it's about the resources. And whoever controls Africa and its resources will be the ones who has more of a secure future. France is in really bad shape as a result of it beginning to lose grip of its colonies economically. So they're going to be one of the first major countries to really hit that point of what do we do next. They're at that place now.
Let me ask you a
So
question. So you saying that? So why are you suggesting that we move to Africa when they're going through their own thing? Because as an American, I wouldn't want to move to a country in Africa where they're unstable because I'm going to be the first one where they come to my house with tiki torches. So
the reason I say that is because our stability is connected to getting those resources from Africa. And if Africa can disrupt that, it's going to affect the Western world's stability. And I would rather be positioned in Africa where the future is, in Africa where they have the resources, and all you need to do is get rid of those
but
puppet.
they don't have the stability, and getting
Yeah,
rid of a
Dana,
government
let
is
me ask a
you
question
don't
too.
do that overnight. That literally
Mm-mm.
takes over a minimum a year or more than that. So why
A
would I
decade.
as an American move to any country in Africa and join in to their revolution to up in a government? No, thank you.
Because you see the future of
Hell
your
no.
country here.
You gonna be
No, no.
considered a
So
traitor
Have
listen,
you
you
ever
didn't miss.
been
You
for an
a
missed
part of
it
the
It's
outsider
not
revolution?
that
anyway.
simple. It's
because
not that
you
simple. They
see,
Wait,
have a
hold on,
you
court
hold on.
system. They
see.
Everybody
have
stay
Hold
their
on.
all
no,
kinds of
everybody stay
stuff.
muted. It's Shaw has the
Okay.
floor. Have you ever been in a part of the revolution, like when the Muslim brother when they had the revolution in Egypt a couple years back, and all those young people? Have you ever been a part of a revolution?
My community of 30,000 people has to date been the only community in this United States of America that has controlled its education from preschool to college. That's East Palo Alto,
So why
California,
would you
also
go
known
to
as
a whole
Nairobi.
nother
That's a
country when you don't
revolutionary
have that control?
because I see the future and the fall of this country. I don't want to be in this country when it goes into this place that we're actually going into now. It started.
Let me
World
interject
and
something.
it
That's not revolution. That's called reform on a small scale. 30,000 people is not many people. 30,000 people is roughly part of the U.S. Army Corps. It's insignificant in the scheme of things. And the other point is you want to go there and be part of what? They don't have a firm structure of government. And if the U.S., Russia, China, Korea wanted to go over there and take it, unless these other big countries decided to intervene, they go over and take it. So it's all
but where are
about
we at?
power.
Yeah,
Where's my position
Judge, I
here
want to
though? What's my position as a
let
black man in
Shaw.
this country?
Shaw, I want to
I'm in
ask
the
you.
same
What?
position
You
here.
limit yourself, you put yourself in a niche that is not necessarily a good one. Study how power is acquired and how it's applied. It's not given. The youth may be doing something in Africa, but if the youth chose to do something and had the drive, the intellect, and the organizational wherewithal, they could do something here. But power is not surrendered ever, even in a republic like ours. So that
Yeah, Shaw,
request
Judge.
that they should
Ju-
give it to the youth, basically what people who know are seeing now is foolishness, ignorance, and, shall we say, a devolution into victimhood that is not something that goes well with authority and power.
Judge, I'd also like to ask Shah, the notion that the United States would not be able to get at the natural resources of the African continent is rooted in what type of reality? Where are you
That's
basing
not
that off of?
reality. That's not
It
how
it I agree.
humanity
I
was
agree to an
ever
extent.
in its prehistory and
I
history.
I would agree to an extent, but what I'm saying is this is that if what is happening now continues to happen, and Niger is taking some control. They're getting more money for their uranium now from France. And they're also they have audited this company that's been there since the 60s or 70s, and they found that they've been taking all this money and whatever. Just like Mali did the same thing. Burkina Faso did the same thing. But what Burkina Faso did when it did its audit, when Ibrahim Traore took over, it jailed a bunch of mine owners and took their and seized their assets. Very risky. Yes, it was very risky, but he's like, we gotta stand up. We gotta do something. So these are small things, Judge, and the brother who was just asking. These are small things, but these are steps in the they're taking steps in the right direction in terms of taking control of their resources.
But can
If
I
this
interject something real quick? Because just take Burkina Faso, that country, for a second. Um, Ibrahim, he has closed borders. He doesn't want Black Americans or any Americans to move there unless you have a infrastructure company that you already established here, because I think you're talking about infrastructure, for us to go there and start and build. But if you don't have the infrastructure in place already here in America, like a company or anywhere else, how are you going to, you know, link that up with Africa? That's what they want. They want you to already come with something so that you could just implement it. But other than that, they're not
but
looking for Black Americans, especially in Burkina Faso. They're not looking for
no,
us to
they
come
are
in there.
though. And it's African Diaspora Development Institute nonprofit that has went there with a delegation year before last, or was last year. They went there with a delegation of African Americans, and there was some other continental Africans and Caribbeans that went. This group of 200 that went there. Yes, they want.
They went to Burkina Faso
Yes, they went to Burkina
to
Faso,
do
and there's
what?
pictures to go visit and see what was going on there
Yeah, that's to
as an
visit and see what's
organization,
going on, not to
as an
check
org
Victimhood.
jobs.
and there was it was a Zoom meeting that were 800 people that I went to, in which they were talking about what Ibrahim Traore, their minister of whatever department it is that deals with immigration and stuff, was saying that all we need to do, they want us to come there. And all we need, they gave us the criteria of what we needed to do, which was really fly there and have a passport, and we could get citizenship.
Right. So
That was
well, here's
that
the
was
thing.
it.
You will have to
What they
give up. You will
but
have
let
to
me
give
say
up your
this.
United States citizenship.
Maybe I don't know if you do, but
Well,
in
here,
Ghana,
well, okay. So
in
here,
Ghana you don't. In
this is
Ghana
what
you
I'm saying.
don't.
No, I'm talking about Burkina Faso. Who gives a
Uh huh.
damn about Ghana?
But
Ghana
let me finish
colonized.
though. That what they want is they want teachers. They want people that are coming there that are going to start businesses. You don't have to be an engineer, but if you can come there and you can teach, you can bring something to the country and not just
And
come there
that's
as a
all well and
tourist.
good, Shy. So
Right.
Ghana, United States already got a foothold in Ghana, so we technically control Ghana with our military. However, let's just stick on Burkina Faso for just
No, you
30
don't control
seconds.
Ghana with your military. You don't.
Yes, we
No.
do. Yes, we
No, you
do.
don't.
And I say
No,
that
you don't.
loosely. I say that loosely to the point, if America wants to go into Ghana right now and take all their resources, they don't have power to stop the United States military. They just
No,
don't.
it's not going to be
But
easy like that. They
but
got a
they're not.
small amount of
America
troops
is
there.
not going to go into
We
Ghana.
don't even need boots on the
America,
ground.
Uh,
America is not going to go to Ghana to do that. I'm just saying to where Ghana is colonized. So Burkina Faso, he took back that country from colonization. However, Judge, I need you to mute up. However, yes, if any Black American wants, because there must be Pan Africans, decide to move to Burkina Faso, eventually they will have to give up their American citizenship. And if they don't, America is going to give them that ultimatum. Why? Because Burkina Faso is doing business with Russia. So they're going to look at, so America here is going to say, oh, you're moving there. You cannot have dual citizenship. The Trump administration already put restrictions on several African countries, and Burkina Faso was one of them, so that the limit visa for us to get visas for that said reason that you just explained. So again, if you, and I get what you're saying, that makes sense. You be a teacher, you could be an engineer, there are other things you could do without having a business infrastructure. I agree with you. But just so you and other people know, the Pan Africans, when you go to these said countries, don't think you're going to come back here to America. You're going to have to stay there through thick and thin. And
Well,
it's, and my
I
only
don't
thing
know
is,
about that.
let me finish. My only thing is, when it gets thin in certain African countries, they're with the shits. And we all seen what happened in Rwanda in the 20th century. And if you have not seen what happened in Rwanda in the 1990s, people need to go do their research on that. I'm not fucking with Africa when it comes to their revolution, because I'm a pampered poodle American, and that's where, yes, I will
Right,
visit for vacation, and I'm
right,
only doing 5 star, and it has
right,
to be
right.
United States
Dana,
visa friendly.
everything must
Me running
change.
water and
I'm
hearing
going on
that
a
drip.
Yeah,
safari. I
Everything
I
want to
will
go
must
do
see
it.
the
Hold
wild
on.
change.
Yeah,
animals.
we'll do the safari. Yeah, Tanzania, all that lovely stuff. Yes, but I'm staying with the winner right now.
Right. Well, the winner
Dana,
is
can you
not
remove me
always
as
winning.
co-host again? I have to restart my phone.
Right.
It's
And
Why don't you
glitchy.
everything
get a
must
new
change.
phone? Why don't you get a new phone? Hold
Nothing
on
stays
for
the
a second,
same.
shot. Hold on for 1 second, shot. All that money you claim you have, Loki. Why don't you get a new phone?
My phone works well. It's just when the space gets overloaded, it starts
Yeah,
to
that
glitch.
means your phone is not working well. Maybe you need to
My
upgrade
phone
the
is
app or upgrade your phone.
remove me right now so I can come back fresh as a daisy.
Okay, all right.
So, quick question for Shah, because I knew some people here in New York who also went to Africa to do what they call investigation, and it sounds like that's the same kind of thing. And these were wealthy African Americans that went there. They came back. They actually invited some of the clothing designers and some of the other people. It was mainly clothing designers that came back, and then when they came here, they were basically doing European cuts, for the fashion shows and this, that, and the other. And they were asking for investments and this, that, and the other. But these men were smart enough to say, "Hey, Deborah, you're American, stay here, don't go there." And I think Dana covered it all, but I'd like to know which company Burkina Faso was able to find. And I'm not sure if I heard you correctly, if you said they find them or threw them out or whatever, because
They jailed them. They
they
jailed,
jailed them. Do you know
yeah,
what
jailed some white boys
do
that
you know what
were
company it
CEO.
was?
I did when I was, kind of stumbled across the information about a month or so ago. They named the country, they named the person, and I, made mental note of it, but I don't remember it. But yeah, you can Google it and
No,
you'll
I don't.
find
I
it.
don't. I mean, Google is okay, but I'm a person. I want deeper
Right.
proof from,
So I
because I
I
know
can't tell you.
Cobalt
Yeah,
right
Yeah.
now.
websites
Cobalt
with documents or
and
something.
cobalt is the main thing that we need for AI. So the cobalt mines and the mines and the minerals, it takes a lot to get to the cobalt, and that's where
Mhm.
the investments come in. And you need billions of dollars to make those investments, to get get the equipment, find the manpower to dig and find the
Yeah,
minerals.
I,
Well,
I
this was
I
gold.
I need
This
Yeah.
to
was not cobalt.
wait.
This was gold.
Okay.
I need to move to
All
other
right.
speakers. But I'm gonna
Yep.
give you 30 seconds shot to land. I just want to say this real quick. I am in support of the country, Burkina Faso, but I just won't be moving there. But go ahead, 30 seconds to land your plane. Then I'm gonna go to Maria.
Right. And again, my landing of this is that it may not be for you. It might be for your great grandkids or your great great grandkids in 20 or 30 years, or less than that, right? and everything changes. The United States may at some point not be as comfortable as it is today because of the turmoil and confusion and all the stuff that's going on. We see the destruction of it now. We see the internal moral corruption of it happening every day when people are shooting at, people, and Donald Trump's in office doing his chicanery. So we're in a hot ass mess here in this country. So we may be comfortable now, but that may not be the case in the future. And you could actually go to Africa if you have some wherewithal now. You could go to Africa and live pretty comfortably because you are coming with something. And you set up your situation where you can be autonomous. You have your own power. You have your own solar, and you do your thing. So I'm saying it's not for everybody, but it definitely needs to be something, an option for us as a people to have a plan, as opposed to dwindling in worse and worse and be at zero wealth by 2053. I land right there.
All right, appreciate you. Maria.
An observation, if I might jump in here. I think the best option for somebody that's an American citizen is to stay right here and assure yourself that you will do everything to keep idiots like the current Democratic Party from running stuff. Africa's still mostly a shithole right now. And we still have B 52s that'll last for another 30 years, B 1 bombers, B 2 bombers, the new B 21, F 22s, an upgraded fighter coming out, and the F-35 we already have, M1 Abrams tanks, M2, M3 Bradleys, and a bunch of other stuff, U.S. Navy, nuclear aircraft carriers and submarines, and it ain't likely to change anytime soon. Now,
Judge, and to add to that, drone and direct energy weapons, they could literally fry your brain with a frequency.
now they have lasers that they're putting into
Right.
operational status.
So you're saying the white man's going to use violence as he
It
usually
ain't
do
white
to
man, it's
maintain.
white folk
Here we
Right.
go.
minority in the
He's going to use violence to maintain his
Yeah,
his
that's the way
Here
hegemony
we
over the
that's the way
go.
the
world.
world
Right.
works. That's how it
Absolutely.
works.
Right. But guess what?
Now, stay where the power is. That's how it works.
Oh,
If
I'm
you want to
sorry.
go back there and
Shaw
you
said
got the
something. Go
means
ahead.
to exploit
Shaw,
the
you could respond.
situation, hey, go for it. But I mean, power is power, and it's
Right.
always been the case,
And and
prehistory and history.
and shithole is relative too, because
Yeah,
if
it
you're a
is a
black person in the
shithole.
United
You ever
States,
been over there?
if you're a black person in the United States and you're living in New York or the South or anywhere, and the police stop you and shoot you
No,
and don't kill you,
that ain't how it
that's
works. That's
that's
bullshit.
shithole.
That's bullshit.
Right.
That's
And what Donald Trump
mythology.
is doing,
That's
what
That
Donald
is a
Trump is doing
mythology.
reach.
to this
That's
country is
mythology,
shithole.
sir. That's
So
mythology.
shithole is
That's
relative.
mythology. And if you
I am
don't
not
want to
eating
be on the
Bushmills.
downside in New York, Chicago, anywhere else, when you are looking at your little brother or your cousin or your nephew or your nieces, tell them to do their homework and they won't be in that bottom line thing. All you got to do to get to the top in the United States is do your homework when you are kindergarten through 12th grade. Sit down at the kitchen table, do your homework, study, and you can be anything you want to be in this
And the
system.
police will pull you over in your Mercedes
Oh,
Benz
bullshit.
and
I
shoot the
don't
shit
get
out of you
pulled
too.
over. I grew up I was your age when it was in the 60s. We didn't play that then. Nobody played that then. You are pussies these days because you're scared of everything. And the conditions in this country are nowhere near what they used to be. So get
Uh-huh.
over it. When my
Right.
parents were growing up, it was hell. When their parents were growing up, it was really hell. When
The
I was
fact that
growing
we
up, it was hard. What you guys
You
have
pamper
now
assassin,
no
is
nigga.
no
That was
no
easy.
it.
what Judge is
You got
saying
a
is that
myth you
they
bought
were fucking
into.
with us back
Look,
then
look, well,
and
you
we
got a
stood up
myth.
to it, and they're still fucking with us now.
Yeah,
We're
and
not standing up
put a
to it.
suit and tie on or a sport coat or look like you're not trying to be somebody stealing or selling drugs.
George,
Why do you
I,
think
I I hear
people
what you're saying,
dress like they
Judge.
do in Tokyo, Berlin, Moscow, Rome,
It doesn't
in
change the
London,
European
in
Americans from being the
Pretoria,
way that
and
they are.
anywhere else when they run stuff? You go over to
Right.
Africa and you see the Africans, they've got on suits and ties. So
You
when you
guys
go
did
out
have
looking
more
like you ought
chutzpah.
to push a grocery basket that was stolen from a local grocery store with lawn bags, What do you think somebody's going to do
Right.
when you
But
look like
if
that?
you're a regular though, if you're a regular young brother or sister walking around in the street, like back in the day,
What?
you
Wait a minute.
guys
Wait,
did
wait.
do more.
Excuse me. What do you call regular?
Well,
Just
I'm
dress
saying
like everybody else
I
in
have
the
on a
world
sweatsuit.
dresses.
I don't look like I have a lot of money. I'm not looking bummy
Give
and
me
poor and all of that
LGBTQ
stuff. I'm
plus.
just, average, got on a little sweatsuit. I'm going about my business
Why
and
you
I
got
get
on a
out
sweatsuit?
because I just
He's
finished
right
working
about that.
out. Because I
Well,
just
then
finished working
go
out.
change when you worked
So,
out and put
but I got a
something
nice
else on.
sweatsuit
Put some
on.
slacks on and
Right.
shine your
Is it a
No,
shoes.
I
velour?
don't have to
Shaw, is it a
dress all the
velour?
time.
Is it a
It's a
Gucci?
Fila sweatsuit. It's a
Excuse
Put
Okay.
Fila
me.
a
sweatsuit.
turtleneck.
Excuse
Right.
me. Somebody in here can tell you that even the mafia
Judge.
doesn't look like they're being
Judge.
thugged
The
out.
point
They
I'm
put
making
on
is that
ties
you
and
don't have
suits.
to look like money all the time so
Well,
that
everybody
you
else
are not
does it.
messed with
Well, so
by
why
and
do you think
harassed
you
with
can
by the
get away with not
police.
doing it?
I'm saying that you could you could just be casually walking around doing your thing and and looking clean and
Look.
everything and be
All
What do
right,
you
we
call
harassed.
what do you
understand. You're a
call
victim. You're
casually
pussy.
walking around?
I'm
Next man.
talking about jeans and tennis shoes
We
and
ain't
a
talking about
t-shirt.
jeans and tennis shoes. We talking about untied shoes. We're talking
No,
about
no,
your
but
hair
that's not what
all
I'm
over your
talking
head,
about.
looking like you got on a
No, I'm talking
wig.
about the people
You're
that get
talking about
harassed are not
somebody
people
that's
that are
not getting
like
it
that all the
together.
time.
It's camouflage, son. Why do you think the people
I'm
that do
saying the
business
people that are getting
camouflage
harassed, Judge,
themselves?
are
And
not
if
looking
you
like
don't want to look
thugs,
like you need to
not
be
looking
pulled
like
over, when you get
ghetto
pulled
hoods.
Child,
over,
we understand. You
then be cool
LGBTQ.
about it. Have some
You're
status.
vulnerable. You're
You
You
don't know
can
vulnerable.
be.
what I
Leave
am,
What are
us in
you
his
sir.
hand,
supposed to be
please.
You don't
doing?
know what I
And
am.
don't
Wait a
start
minute.
calling people names,
Who's
the black.
running
We're not
these
doing that.
cities where you get? Wait, time out. Let's back up. Who's running these cities where you get pulled over and gunned down because of your appearance? Who's running them?
Well, you're inferring that your appearance is thug and
Yeah,
hood,
I mean, look,
but
I
I'm not
used to
saying
sell
that
my
though.
clients.
You don't
Look,
have to
dude.
look thug and hood to be harassed
Yeah,
and to be shot
excuse
and
me,
killed.
but you're not gonna be shot and killed. The
But that's what's happening
statistical
though.
likelihood of that happening to you is
Right.
extremely low, down to the point of
It
improbability. When it was a reality, you wouldn't have been able to handle it. You'd be pissing your pants.
okay, so you
So
were made
right
of a
now,
different
what's
stock
going
back
on
then
is
in the
if you
Panthers
want to see
time.
what the probabilities are, take one and divide it by 360 million, or take 150 and divide it by 360 million, and see how many zeros you get after the
It's
decimal
still
point.
too much. It's still too much.
It
Too
doesn't.
much.
Wait a minute. In the big cities, who's running the place? Let's take
And
the
now you're
biggest
gonna
one in the
say that
country,
it's
New
because the
York.
Democrats are running the
Who's the
big
mayor of
cities
New
that
York?
is the Democrats' fault.
Well,
And I don't care if
A
I
yeah,
don't
black
care
man,
but
what
Judge.
you
party's
A
in
vote
black
for
office.
man.
them. You
It
vote
doesn't
for
matter.
them.
It doesn't matter what puppet black man Eric
Excuse
Adams
me.
or
Excuse
whoever
me.
is in office.
Excuse me. Who's the mayor of New York? Who's the attorney general for the
It
state of
doesn't
New York?
matter. He used to be a police chief.
So what?
Yeah, that means
He
So
he's
was
in the
never
what?
a
Then
mindset
you,
chief.
of
what's
He was
being
wrong
an
never
with
a
being the
chief.
institution.
police chief?
He was a
He's part of the
detective.
What's
institutions.
wrong with being the
He's part of
police chief?
he's part of
Every
the he's
people
part
in
of the
the
institutions of this
every
country.
people in the world has respect for law and order, and
I
they
would
seek
never
it.
be part of the police in this
Well, then
country.
that's
I mean,
your
wasn't that the
thing.
goal of
In this
That's
integration?
country.
your thing. But when you do that, you take yourself out of the loop. So that
Can I
means
ask the judge a
you
question?
put yourself
Can I
into
ask the judge a
somebody
question?
who is controlled.
Can I
Wait,
ask the judge?
Stay on
Can I
your
ask the
mic.
judge a
Stay on
Minister,
your
question?
you gotta
mic.
wait your turn.
Yeah, wait. Shaw, finish up with Judge the dialogue, the back and forth. Go ahead.
I'm pretty much understanding where Judge is coming from,
See,
and
you
I'm
go to
saying,
let's go this. You go to Africa. Do you think the chief over there is going to let you get out of line unless you have his permission?
well, why would I get out of line anyway?
Well, the point
Why are you getting that?
is
Oh my
do you
God.
know what getting out of line is in places
Oh,
outside of Africa? I mean, outside of America.
no, tell me, Judge, what is getting out of
Okay,
line in
it
Ghana?
means you're in line at a train station and you're worried about being able to get to the train on time. So you step to the right and you step on a dotted line and you hear all of the Kalishnikovs chambering rounds. Put your hands on your head and apologize profusely for daring to step on a dotted line that you're supposed to be inside of.
I
That's
don't
happened to
understand
me.
that.
That's happened to me.
I've been to Africa several times, and that's never happened to me.
Well, I wasn't even talking about Africa.
Oh, okay.
And the
Well, I
bottom
thought
line
thought you were though.
is
I thought we were
I've
talking
had
about
that
stepping
happen
out
to
of
me.
line in Africa, though.
I've had that happen to me, and I know people that run things in Africa. Went to school with them, roommates. So high up in African governments, you see what they used to tell me about things and how
It's,
they did it.
you ever heard of the SARS in Nigeria? They have police brutality. They're heavy. It's a genocide right
Nigeria is
now
a
going on in
mess.
Nigeria. So the when we talk about different countries, was it 54, 55 countries in the continent of Africa? Their police over there is a lot of times, I would say, worse than what we have here.
Dana,
Just
you
Have
want
you
to talk
been
because
about
there?
brutality? They will literally go to
Have
your
you been
house,
there?
take everybody to prison, and make you watch as they rape your wife and
When
children in
you're in
front of you.
Ghana,
So you
you
want
don't
to
have to
talk
worry
crazy
about.
about what happens here? You don't even have a constitution or rights over there. They could air you out, and
That's
literally
not
no
true.
one will remember you.
That's not true.
You know what? You
That's not
should
true.
go. You know
No,
what?
I've
I
been.
see big
No,
things
you
for you
should
in
go.
Africa. I
You
think it's
should
going to be
go.
wonderful. You're going to have a
You
great
should go
why
time.
because you're
I
why
see
talking
you
about
being
it.
super successful there.
You're talking about Africa, but it sounds like you haven't even been.
I know.
Well,
Listen,
but Shy,
Right.
you're
you've been
right.
to Ghana. Have you been to Nigeria?
Yes, I have been several
Have you
times.
gotten in trouble in Nigeria?
No,
Right. Have you been to Uganda and gotten in trouble, or South Africa and gotten in
no, I was
trouble?
in the Congo and I did
Well, I'm
learn a
not fucking with the
lesson.
Congo at all, honey.
Yeah. Well, I was in the Congo in 1986, and I learned a
Oh
very
hell
valuable
no.
lesson because I was trudging through this field, and there was a brother that was way up in the field with a machine gun, and he said "arrête," and I didn't know what he meant. It meant it's French for stop.
Why
So
was
I'm
your black
approaching him, and
ass? Why?
he's telling
Hold
me
on, Shy.
stop.
Back up, back up. Why was your black American ass in the Congo in the '80s, honey? What was you doing?
Well, first of all, the Congo in the 80s in Brazzaville, Congo, even in Zaire at the time was not
It's always been horrible.
That's where all the hemorrhagic
no,
fears
Ever
come
since
sister.
the
from.
No,
Ebola,
Belgians,
sister.
uh,
It hasn't always
Lassa
been horrible.
virus.
It
ever
hasn't
since
always
King
been horrible.
Leopold, child, come what you
No,
doing in the
it
Congo
hasn't
in
always been
the
horrible.
80s?
And this is what the people need to see. Dana,
And
you
wait,
haven't even
hold on,
been.
child, hold on for 1 second. And then you talking about some you strolling in the goddamn jungle fields? No, what is wrong with
It's not a
you?
jungle. You sound so unintelligent right
Okay, so
now,
even
Dana.
if you in the city, like it's not like
Dana,
our city
I'm
in the
surprised that you're
80s.
making these comments. Like you
Okay, so
don't even.
but your ass got
I'm
stopped
in the
by
city.
hold on, but you still got stopped by the goddamn cops in the Congo. And what happened?
No, I was trying to tell you, but you
Go
cut me
ahead,
off.
just go ahead, go ahead.
The guy told me to stop ways about maybe 300 feet ahead of me, and I didn't understand French. And so I kind of kept going, and then he said, arrête. So I said, oh, that means stop. It must mean stop. So I stopped. And that was the closest thing that I could think of that was any kind of
Well,
danger.
what would have
But for
happened if he would have said if you would have kept going? He wouldn't have said he wouldn't have handcuffed you and read your Miranda rights. That wouldn't have
uh,
happened.
right, I don't know what would happen, but I was,
Oh, we know what would have
I could
happened.
read the
You
common
wouldn't be
sense
on this
line.
app right now. You wouldn't be on this app.
Maybe, maybe not. Right. So, but all the things that you're saying is really unintelligent,
No,
Dana.
it's
I'm
not unintelligent.
shocked.
You
Sean, can you
fully
You
land
talk
your
about
plane
the
right there?
retarded.
jungle. I'm in a city in Brazzaville. It's the city. Ain't no jungle.
Yeah,
First of
I
all,
hear good things
Okay,
about Brazzaville in
I'm
the
not
and
summer.
talking about the jungle,
at that
but
time, Zaire was
it's
doing pretty
very
good.
nature.
Was
I'm
doing
talking.
good.
It's more nature driven, which is fine. But what I'm saying is, whether it's city or not, honey, you're in the Congo and you're dealing with their quote unquote military police. They ain't messed it. No, like yeah, you knew to stop because you knew if you would have took
But
one step forward, he would have shot your ass dead right there.
I was more comfortable being there than I was being around
Oh,
police in the United
all
States.
right. I wouldn't have been. I'm
Way
Like
sorry.
far away.
Dana, shouldn't he
Way
go
Well,
back?
far. Yeah, I would.
Go back.
shit. All right. I'm sorry, guys. I gotta go to Maria, the Black, Bay Brother, Harriet, Professor Black, LS, Mansa's son, and I gotta see who else was up here. But go ahead, Maria.
Me.
I respectfully request the room not interrupt me because I would like to give my respects to Miss Donna. Thank you, ma'am, for hosting the room.
Well, it's actually
And,
Dana with the long A. I'm not Hispanic.
okay, sorry about that,
No
but thank
problem.
you so much for running this room And I am so sorry that people are talking over you and disrespecting you while you are talking. I'm very sad that this is happening to you. Hello, Judge Brown. We have spoken before. My
Hello
regards
there.
to you. My
Joe.
wonderful regards to
Oh,
you,
I
Judge.
like Jasmine.
Thank you,
Uh,
ma'am. Glad to have you.
and my respects to Mr. Loki.
Oh,
Uh,
my pleasure
I,
to meet
I,
you.
I wanted to. It's been a while since the subject was spoken about Indians. I'm Indigenous, and if anybody should be offended about race, it should be the Indigenous of the United States of America. We come in all shades. We're not. We've been diluted with interracial marriages and stuff like that. So our skin can range from very dusty, snowy white to as dark as the mosaic. So uh, we're a people of color, but we are often uh, ignored. Uh, it's black and white. You don't find often the Native American Indigenous box there to check. A lot of people throw around asking for reparations. Wouldn't it be nice to have the Native Americans get their reparations? We have been enslaved. We enslaved one another. Civilization has had slavery all around the globe. But one thing I do see that is sorely missed, and that is respect. Respect for yourself first, and then respect for others. It's earned, it's not given. And I came up in the era like Judge Joe Brown. We can get along like siblings all around the globe because that's all we are. Uh, it's just that when my turn for toner came out, they were a little bit shy of a full canister. So if we treat one another as brothers and sisters, which never ever get along 100%, it's okay to disagree without being disagreeable. And it is my prayer that race not be the only thing that you're judged by. It should be judged by how you approach people. If you have a bias, it is your bias, not everybody else's bias. That's your issue, your tribe. And they may have a bias against you because they may have had a bad time with it. But if there is a dialogue and talking, and this is what our players uh, have
Hold on for one
a
second,
problem.
Maria. Hold on for 1 second. Peter, the next time whoever does that or anybody else, just drop them. Just drop
Okay.
them.
I didn't see
Don't
who it
be
was.
disrespectful like that.
Yeah.
Go,
Sorry,
go ahead,
Maria.
Maria.
That's all right. But it gives an example. It's no like everybody's had to, as indigenous, I didn't fit anywhere. And so I had all kinds of trouble because I didn't fit. I was neither white, I was neither black. And this is with interracial couples as well. Their children have to suffer the same as me. But you know something? If you are self-dedicated to moving forward instead of looking back and boo-hooing about, oh, people picked on me. Look forward, walk forward. There's always someone to give you a hand up or a hand out, to give you hope or to catch you when you fall, to give you good advice or just listen. A lot of people do not listen to each other. And this is where the playground comes, is the first lesson of a society, of getting along and communicating. And yeah, it might have been a playground, but that's missing in a lot of schools, that we interact and we had our cliques. We sat at the table. So what? It was a clique. But just remember, nobody else pays your debt except for you, unless you are a sucker on somebody's taxpayer money. When you make your own, you own it. And this is where your self respect comes from. It doesn't matter what clothes you wear, but if you respect yourself and honor yourself, you're a good person. And if you look at the goodness inside of one another, the hate will have no room. And hate is driving a wedge against each humane person out there. Someone has humanity, and that's all in us. And my prayer is that when I finish speaking, that everybody please respect this room and the hostess and the judge and those speaking, and stop trying to outshout and out maneuver and outshine one another. We're all equal in God's eyes, our Creator. Please respect one another. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
ma'am. I
Marie. That was
appreciate that.
lovely.
And by the way, my grandmother and mother were Choctaw, so I understand. And for the last gentleman, my grandfather was a Yoruba, so interesting combo. But yeah, we got a thing that a lot of other people didn't. We used to take scalps and nail them to the lodge pole rather than wine. We
Okay.
did that.
We have the black. Go ahead, the black.
What's going on, Dana? Judge,
How are
uh,
you?
Loki, whatever you want to be this week.
Hey, the
Uh,
black.
I mean, you change your name every week. I'm confused at this point. So, hey, um, I did want to ask Judge a question when it came down to like uh these different scenarios of like people up like doing uprisings and taking over their government. And I hear like more and more people like coming on different panels trying to persuade people to do that here. And I'm trying to understand the logic of people want to live in instability instead of like actually being part of the system and actually trying to change it to benefit people instead of like going for one end of an extreme to another end, and instead of like coming to a middle ground. Because I thought the more I understand like law and how each state was created, it was the I thought the whole point of being an American is trying to find a middle ground. Even though you're not gonna agree on everything, we can agree to disagree and then go back in our own little bubble. So the ideology of changing how we do things in America, it it kind of like boggles my mind how people kind of like want to start some anarchy and want to live in instability. So what do you think about that? Like what drives people to want to just egg that on instead of just coming to a middle ground and actually building something together?
A person's nature. People have different things about them. Everybody's not the same, sir. So some people get it, some don't. Some like to deal with adventure and excitement and adversity, and some people like to sit at home quietly on their couches.
So because like in Nepal, they just somewhat went towards like a digital presidential race where all the young people chose the president. But do you think, because I feel like living in instability and within a revolution, you still got to start over from scratch and try to build some type of stability. So that's why I don't understand the logic of just working within the system. Like, why do people kind of like Shy? It's instead of working within the system and looking at it as being opposition now, because I understand why your generation kind of like took integration towards like being part of the system, but it wasn't. It was less revolutionary, as some people will say. But I see the progress, and I understand the progress that my generation trying to put forward when it come down to like this delineation and separating. It's the outsiders. I feel like what continues to push a divide, because a strong America means, you know what I'm saying, a stronger black and white, you know what I'm saying, union. Do you think so?
Let me make one salient correction to what you said. It wasn't integration, it was desegregation. There is a very distinct difference. If you go to a park now and you've got a dog, it may say dogs not allowed. It may say dogs must be on leash or dogs allowed to be off leash. In my lifetime, I've read signs that say Negroes must be accompanied by a responsible white person. No Negroes allowed. Or Negroes over here are colored only, white only. In other words, desegregation was somebody forcibly separating you out and there was nothing you could do about it, or at least not legally. Integration is when they remove the barriers to you doing what you want. You choose to intermingle. There is a big difference.
Okay, that's all I wanted.
Okay. Bay brother.
What's up, everybody?
Hi.
Hi, Danny. I appreciate you letting me join. And hey, Judge, I appreciate being able to speak in your presence because I've always, been a fan. And hello, Loki. I don't know who you are, but you're a co-host, so I'm gonna say hi. I
Peace.
just wanted to say to the brother that was talking about revolution and moving to Africa, like my grandparents and my great grandparents was Indians. They was indigenous. They was chocolate. And I'm like, why would we leave our homeland and go somewhere where we don't know the customs, we don't know the culture, and we're not a part of that? And at the same time, we have a revolution that we need to do here, which is a political revolution, a leadership revolution, because every hood I ever lived in was controlled by us, our people, and they were all violent. I left home at 12 years old. I grew up in violence. And my whole life, I struggled and hustled. But then in my 30s, because I tell you, my whole life, I struggled. But in my 30s, I started, I was volunteering everywhere, and I was real smart, and I developed a career in IT. No credentials, no degrees. I'm an IT manager for a big company now. But I just changed the way I thought. I changed the way I acted. When I was a young dude, I used to get arrested, go to jail a lot. Every time I get pulled over, I cuss the police out and I be in jail. I get arrested. If I get a ticket now or get pulled over now, I hardly ever get a ticket, because my mindset is different. So I'm saying we don't need to run to another country. We need to
What happened?
take
He
it
cut
and
I
out.
don't
destroy
know.
Hey,
He was
communities.
dropping some
Can I
facts.
respond when he finishes? I would love to respond if I
Bay,
may.
can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear
Bay
you.
brother. Okay,
Yeah, I
you
hear
cut
you.
it. You cut out.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I thought I got cut off. But at the end of the day, a lot of what destroys our people and our people's spirit and our people's ambition is the lack of opportunities in the communities that we live in. It's not because there are no opportunities to be had. It's because that we are not educated in the system that we live in. But that could be corrected if we have people that lead our communities and invest in our youth and create opportunities so that young people can get trade skills. They took all that stuff out of my schools. And when I was growing up, they started taking out the metal shop, the wood shop, the auto shop. And these kids graduate and they have no skills. They graduate kids that can hardly even read. And these are people who we call our leaders. And if we fix that, fix the end of corruption and the poverty pimping, if we end that and really invest in strong youth, things can be a lot better. But if it's not, the solution is not running to another country where you're not known and you won't really be appreciated, because we have enough people in this country right now and we make enough money and have enough influence, but we have to stop being selfish, greedy, and corrupt as a people. We all not that way, but the people that get in power seem like once they get in power, they kind of forget who they are, where they came from, and they turn their back on the people that got them to where they are. And when we figure that part out, and I do this myself. I wrote a book called A Young Man's Guide to Career Success, just teaching you how to be a professional. You get into a work environment and you just change your attitude and change the way you move. And you can do anything in this country. I'm living a life I never thought I'd live, but you have to change the way you think. And one thing that we really need to do is end the corruption and have a revolution in our communities and get real people in those communities to lead those communities all over the country. And we have a situation now where the people that lead our country, they don't give a damn about the people in their constituents. They don't care about the condition you in. And you see the last administration, what they do, they brought 20 million people to replace us. Those people came and took our space and our resources, and then we complaining about the other side. You know what I'm saying? So we just got to have a revolution in who we call our leaders. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you for that. You used a phrase that I haven't heard in a few months: poverty pimps. See, black folk tend to vote for folk who are poverty pimps. They tell the black folk that vote for them that they are victims. They tell them that they're inferior to supreme white people. They tell them that there's no hope, that they should want and rely upon a handout from the people that are told, that are represented as somebody that's oppressing them. It doesn't make any sense, but it is something that black Negroes have bought into. Black folk, like any other people in America, they understand the realities and they say, hey, everybody in this country, from white, black, brown, red, yellow, has had some period of oppression. Most of the white people were not at the top of their game in Europe when they migrated over here. The Native Americans weren't necessarily at the top of their game when they migrated before that from Asia. And black folk got brought over here because they weren't at the top of their game where their homeland was and got captured. But everybody on this planet has been put in that condition at one point or another. But some people overcome and other people get psyched out. Muhammad Ali was an expert in psyching folk out. He would psych folk out into believing that they were going to lose the fight before they even stepped in the ring with him. Heard him talk about it. And that's what's happened. The so-called Negro leadership in this country that controls most of the biggest urban areas of the country are poverty pimps. They have convinced the people that vote for them that they have all of these deficits. There's no way of overcoming them unless somebody who is supposedly oppressing them is nice enough to give them something. That's not how you get success. So we need to get unpsyched. And since we have the vote to put these clowns in office, we need to stop voting for them. That's why I say a lot of what I say and why I started off today. Please let's not get into this victim thing, because it's a psych out job, and that does nothing about preparing black folk, not black folk, Negroes to become black folk so they can be Americans on the same footing as everybody else, which is you have an opportunity if you take it. Yeah, I'll pass
Yeah.
the mic on that one.
And one last
Okay, so
thing.
can I respond to Bay,
Mm-hmm.
brother?
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
Really quickly. So, my little community represents what can be done. It wasn't a critical mass enough to create a national movement, but you have pockets of that going on all throughout the United States. We ran. Did we run from Louisiana and Arkansas to Detroit and Chicago and New York, or to California in my case, to Oakland, San Francisco, Los Angeles? Did we run? Were we refugees? Did we run? You saying we shouldn't run to Africa? Yet we were trying to get a better life and get
No,
out of
we
Jim Crow
expanded.
South. I'm that's it's rhetorical. I'm not really. So we didn't run per se. We wanted to move to a place where we could get from out a lot of the pressure of Jim Crow and the racism. And even
Mhm.
though these other places had it still, they still had that environment. It wasn't as bad. Uh, and so that's why we left to these other places so we could find work and we could get a break from the oppressiveness of the South. That's what it was explained to me, right? So my thing is this, is simply this. We need to look at options that we can have for our future, for our kids, our grandkids, our kids to be. And this country is not the only option that we have, is what I'm saying. We need to look at other options. And it's one thing to say to not vote for the people that are, yeah, that's true. We shouldn't vote for these people. Maybe we shouldn't vote at all. But what should we be doing? Should we be putting $15 in a pool, one pot? We figure out who's how it's going to be controlled, and if every month everybody's putting the same amount of money that you would pay for Netflix or something like that, at the end of the year we'd have several $billion as 50 million people. That if we do things like that and say this is what we're going to do with the money, that's something that we can do, that's concrete, and we vote and we influence the vote and have those trickle downs come into places, into scenarios in which we have, worked. We're waiting for those funds. We're going to do these things with those monies that we have voted to do things on. That we're more intentful with how we're voting, and we're autonomous from this country in terms of our what we're trying to do, the agenda that we're trying to do. Because, and here's the problem with that, and I'll land with this: if we do that, like what we were doing, we you become a target. You become a target by these European Americans, a serious target. And that's why I'm saying it's not viable for us to stay in this country, and that we need to be thinking about leaving, because we're in the land of the enemy, and they have the guns, like Judge said. They got bombers, they got drones, they got all these things. We don't have those things. We got guns, and
Dana, who's
Yeah.
next?
You know
little
what?
Dana,
guns ain't
who's
gonna do
Real,
shit
next?
for the military that they got. They
real quick.
militarize the
Miss
police.
Dana, can I
Am I
go
Real
next,
next?
quick.
I'm gonna be
I'm
Dana?
real
sorry.
short.
Like, slow down, guys.
Mansa,
So yeah,
Mansa next.
no, Mansa's not next. Is
Can I finish?
Harriet is next.
Can I reply?
1 second,
Okay.
Judge. Harriet is next, and I do. So I'm gonna let Bay. I'm gonna let you have the last say to land your plane. Then we're gonna go to Harriet. Go ahead.
If I might make an
Thank you, Dana.
intervention, if we put that money together, it'd be a lot of money, but the Negro leadership would steal it quickly. I
Hmm.
represented a lot of them over the last 6 decades, and they were pretty good at stealing money put up like that. So our problem is we don't have folk we can trust who are in positions to do anything. If we could trust them, they would not be trying to sell us out in favor of rainbow theology. They would be representing us and our interests like proper representatives do. They just use their color in their spiel of we are victims and do poverty pimping so they can get in positions and represent somebody else's interests, not their.
It's kind of victim mentality, Judge,
Yeah,
All right,
to
yeah.
say that we can't trust.
stop.
Let,
Judge,
let
can you
me
mute for a second? Because we hear number
I'm,
one.
I'm trying to mute. I can't.
All right, just unmute once you get home, honey. Because honey, you driving that Porsche and can't have no accents while you drive. So it is midnight. So is the government officially shut down? Just before I go to Harriet, yes, okay. Go ahead. All right, the government is officially shut down. Go ahead, Harriet.
Good evening or
could
good
I
morning,
reply?
right?
Oh, I'm
Can I get a
sorry.
little
That's
closer?
right. Bay
Yeah,
was supposed to land. The judge had cut in. Go ahead, Bay, then
yeah. And
Harriet.
yeah, I'll end on this. Once upon a time, my oldest son pointed this out to me. He said, I was talking to him about some things about how we had interactions with the police and this and that, and my son said, "Dad, this is a new day. We don't have the same kind of life you have." And he grew up in a school and he had a mixed group of friends. So yeah, we used to run from Jim Crow. We used to run from a lot of things. We used to have all kind of challenges, but there's those challenges don't exist no more. Those challenges kind of exist in a lot of our mindsets. And so one thing you can do, you talk about what can we do, how about if you see a foreigner move into your neighborhood and they open up a tire shop, you open up a tire shop and your people support that. And they see you see them open up a hair beauty salon, a supply store. You open up a beauty supply store and your people mess with that. When we start supporting our own communities with the kind of the resource type businesses that a community needs to run, and we support those, then people can't move us out of our community. We can't say we don't have no opportunities. We don't have opportunities because we give away all of our resources to people who move into our communities and they send their kids to college off the money that we spending in their stores, and we don't spend any money in our stores. And so we have to have an economic revolution at the same time. We have to educate our kids. We have to bring in politeness and morality and honor and respect, the things that our grandparents had in the communities. Because when I grew up, you couldn't talk back to an adult, and now you see these young cats walking down the street slapping old ladies. It's crazy. It's a whole different mindset. So yeah, we got to change the way we think. We got to change the way we move. We don't have to go, and I'll say we don't have to fly. If run is not the right word, we don't have to fly to Africa or another country to try to find a new homeland. We are home. This is our home. This is our land. A lot of our people came from this land from the gate. So we don't need to run away from it. What we need to do is stop acting the way we act and following the trends that we are following today. Because when our great grandparents and our grandparents lived in that oppression, they knew how to come together. They knew how to work together. They knew how to open up businesses. And as a kid, when I was a kid, there were I grew up in Oakland, Frisco, every hood in the Bay Area, Richmond, North Richmond,
So
Mm.
Hunters
are you
Point.
are you Choctaw or Cherokee?
No, please do not. Please don't interject. I need him to land because I have to get to other speakers. There are people waiting. So go ahead and just. Are you done, Bay? Because I need to go to
I'm
Harriet.
almost done. I'm almost done. I'm sorry. But when I was a kid,
Well,
we had
are you
black
giving us a story?
stores.
Because I don't.
Yeah, no. I'm just wrapping it up real quick. We had black businesses everywhere. My family owned 4 record stores in San Francisco. There were black liquor stores, black grocery stores, all up and down Foothill Boulevard. And today you go there and you can't find black businesses anymore. You damn near can find black people because our people are getting moved and scattered all around the state. So what I'm saying is that when we start supporting ourselves, supporting our communities with the things that the community needs, and we all support that, then we can start seeing some change. We don't have to run away from our communities. We can stay in our communities, but then we also have to get the people. Like if you're a real solid brother and you want to really help your people, get into a position of power and don't sell out your people. And that's my word.
All right, go ahead, Harriet. We have Harriet, and after that is Professor Black, LS, Mansa, and Dolo. Go ahead, Harriet.
Oh, okay. Well, good morning, Dana, Judge Joe
I was
Brown.
about to say morning.
Um,
It is. It's midnight. Hey.
Yes, yes, yes. I just want the government shutdown, right? This I mean, for our government to be shut down because the demons rats wants illegal aliens to receive benefits is wild. It's really wild. And I don't think people understand the impact. Like, what's really happening is the Democrats are showing you that they are putting in a coup d'etat of this federal government. And they gonna make the president do what they want him to do and make this become a socialist country. Like, this is the way I'm seeing it right now. Like, and our people Americans should be in the streets. Okay, but anyway, it's wild to me that people are sitting around like this is not a big deal. It's big deal for me. And then the fact of the matter is, I was front and center at the congressional. I'm gonna be nice and respectful. Congressional Black Caucus Convention. I witnessed the mayors for Cities for Action on stage being very performative. Okay. So Judge Joe Brown, I'm with you about the pimps don't stop prostitution. That's Mark King Carter's words. That's how he expresses it. So saw it in
Amen.
full effect. Go ahead,
I
Judge.
said amen.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Brandon Johnson, we booed him. We surely did. Now, yeah, I get y'all like political correctness, but this is not the time for political correctness from what I'm seeing. It's time for us to get grimy and be proactive, okay? Because these people are really attempting to take over the government. So, the geopolitics, Dana, Judge Joe Brown, then why y'all gonna let a Pan African stay on the stage and y'all gave him all that space? You know he a part of the psyops. He's a part of the psyops. Okay, he's up a long line with that BS. So anyway, if people don't know, I want people to understand our people, and when I say our people, I mean the freedmen. Please understand, in your federal government right now, there is an African Development Foundation, an independent establishment, and government corporation. Okay, Black Americans. You don't even have no offices. You don't have offices of Freeman. They got a Bureau of Indian Affairs. They got offices of New Americans. But where's your equity in your country as a founding population of this country? And where's your wealth? Now I'm gonna have to say, Judge, I'm gonna have to disagree. There are some things that you can verify and confirm the disparities of our people. There's all kinds of stats and things and studies and cities and things of that nature. But again, I do agree with you that it is our leadership, as Mark King Carter calls him, Black leadership. And to witness them at this convention be racist and discriminate against us because we're conservatives, right? And they claim they're nonpartisan, but there was no Republicans or other independents voices on the stages anywhere. And we saw Miss Letitia James, Judge Joe Brown. She didn't like us. She got loud on the mic because we were loud. So, now and now we're shut down, y'all. Shut down. This is crazy. This is really crazy. So the geopolitics is all about globalization right now. And it's happening right here on this soil. That's what it's all about. And they all in it, Judge, and we need to prosecute them. That's where I'm at.
Harriet, I'd like to get your. I appreciate what you just said. I'd like to get your 2 cents on, if we can, Have you heard what Defense Secretary Hegseth said earlier today and gave a speech about with the Department of War and returning it to greatness and getting rid of the woke ideology that infected it under the Biden criminal regime? And what were your thoughts on
Fantastic
that?
soldiers.
Well, I had not heard about that. It's just, I mean, to me, just to see the depth of the performances of these people. And, Chicago Flips Red has serious issues going on in their community. And to be able to see these people just play around with our lives and think that it's okay to tell us how to think and feel. That was my issue, my major issue.
Can I ask, wouldn't that be considered un-American activities? Like for them to be holding the government hostage to
Look.
for
Okay,
immigrants?
y'all. I met
Treason.
one of the judges and attorneys that wrote the Immigration Naturalization Act. Like, and he broke it down to us. I mean, right? They should be all like, really. We should be making sure they're prosecuted. You all.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
think he's going to, Harriet, and I think that's what's coming. And I think tribunals are being convened, and we're going to see a lot of people go to the penitentiary.
Well,
And
Fannie Willis is going to be one of them. She'll ask our subpoena. Tish
Tish
James,
James,
James
woo, Tishy
Comey,
James going to jail, baby.
James Comey, Fannie going to well, she most likely be going to jail. So it's Tish, Big Fannie. Yeah. I don't know, Judge. I tried to send you the co-host link again, but if you driving, just focus on driving. All right. So
Oh, Shifty Schiff too, Adam Schiff. Don't
Miss
forget
Dana,
about
I'll
him.
be real short. Can I ask a quick question?
not really, because I have to get to the people that has been waiting. So you just gotta wait.
You can hang out though. You can hang on stage.
Um, Professor Black, then LS Mansa Dolo, then you, Rod. Go ahead, Professor Black.
Professor Black, you got to unmute. We want to hear you.
He been waiting for a minute. He probably fell asleep.
Dana,
Oh
you want
no,
to
I'm
spit
here,
shit?
Data. What's going on, Data? How y'all
Good,
doing?
how are you?
I'm doing fine. And Peter, good to see you, man. And Judge, always good to see you. Um,
You too.
Let me say this, y'all. For everyone that has come up here, I have enjoyed all of your point of views about all the different or various topics. But the one that just stands out to me, and I can't remember the brother's name. I think it was Stan that was talking about us going back to Africa.
Shaw.
Uh,
Shaw.
no, it's
Shah.
Sean. Okay, Sean, I'm sorry. Going back to Africa. I'm sorry, that is not in my plan. That's not on my bucket list to go to Africa, somewhere where I have no ties, I have no family, and I have no kind of history connected to that place over there. Um, if you or anybody else want to go over there, hey, have at it. But I'm not trying to tie myself into Africa. Any of the 54 countries over there, I'm not trying to tie myself into any of them. Okay. I do wish all of them over there the best. I hope everything uh, comes together eventually because I know there's been some issues in some of the nations over there. But we live here in this country. This is where we have our families. This is where we have most of our lineage. This is just where everything is for Black America. Okay, this is where we belong. This is where we supposed to be fighting. I'm not going over to another land that I'm not familiar with to fight with some people over there. Okay, that will probably just take me and lock me right on up because they know I don't know anything about them over there or know anything about their laws over there. At least over here, we know who the devil is. I mean, I'm just being honest. So we know how we need to move here. We know that there are some opportunities here because I know Judge was speaking on that earlier. We don't want to have the victim's mentality. That's true. I would say to anybody, because I tell my own daughter, don't never have a mentality of you can't do anything, right? But let's also be cognizant that there is a system that has always been in play to make sure that you keep one group in particular at the bottom. And that's not to say that other groups have not gone through issues. Now, notice what I call it. I call it issues because it's only one group in this country that was in legalized slavery. Okay. Now I'm telling you how that's worded. Notice I just said legalized slavery because there might have been other groups that went through some indentured servitude. You went through that. You didn't go through slavery. Okay. It's different. It's a difference. And I wish people would finally read up on the differences between the two indentured servitude and slavery. One group went through slavery. That's Black Americans, freedmen. Okay. It's also one group that has been taking on all of the heat of the systemic oppression that was put in place. That's mainly been Black Americans too, right? That's not to say other groups don't have issues, but the group that takes the majority of the heat, even when we're not even involved in stuff, is us. That's us. Now y'all can disagree with what I'm saying, but I'm telling you what it is. And I'm gonna land right there. And by the way, yes, the shutdown is in place, everybody. I hope you ain't depending on no checks or anything like that, or whatever. If you work for the government, whatever. Hopefully they'll get it back up and running here.
You might not get a check, but I got a text from somebody that works for a federal agency. He's on the job tonight, so he's not off. He just has to maybe wait to get paid. But this is all rhetoric. They do this every 18 months or
Every
so.
year.
Yeah, it's been going on since about 35 years ago. It was just a thing that was quite significant the first time it happened, but it goes on so often. It's no big thing. They work it out. It's just that, remember, the whole thing, government shutdown, is something the news media came up with about 35 years ago to sell newspapers and to pay attention to what used to be half-hour news broadcast, with the exception of CNN. So, yeah.
Okay.
The last one we had was in December 2018, and it lasted 35 days. And I
Yeah,
think
well,
this one might be just as acute. And President Trump, he just announced it earlier. He said they're not necessarily a bad thing. We're going to get rid of a lot of Democrat jobs that shouldn't have existed in the first place.
yeah, but I don't recall the B-52s, B-1s, and B-2s stop flying, or the Navy stopped patrolling. So that's what counts. Anyway, like he said, a good opportunity to get rid of some jobs. They closed it down, so it's their folk to get off. And by the way, yeah, some black women got laid off, some white women got laid off too, but it's kind of sort of when you get the position because of your appearance rather than your ability. That's not too cool either, because I've had so much in the last couple of decades of walking in someplace, and I could find sixth grade students in an elementary school that were on top of their game, that could do better than some of the people that were working in the offices. So yeah.
All right. I want to get to LS, then Mansa, Dolo, Rod, OG. So go ahead, LS.
You can hear me? Hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, peace and blessings to everybody. It was a lot of, I'm enjoying the conversation. Shout out to you, Dana. Shout out to the Honorable Judge Joe Brown. I caught your interview with Art of Dialogue. I don't think they're ready for that one. If you want to go check that out. And shout out to Peter, aka Mr. Loki. But I'm very intrigued by what was being said, especially when I guess the other guy who left was talking about how much about Africa and things of that nature. But in the words of our dearly departed Dr. Neely Fuller Jr., I'm still learning. So at the end of the day, but what I do know is is that there's more unity here in the United States in the black community than there would be in Africa, as far as I can see with the naked eye. You know what I mean? You have your anecdotal experiences for some people that may be in a different financial space that may be able to elude certain things that the average black person that would go over there would not be able to elude. And then you got to also think about not having political. You got a lot of people from the diaspora that are over here in the United States. It's almost like the flip side of it. You got a lot of I guess that was really where the whole delineation aspect started coming in, because you got a lot of people that were in maybe local and political power that were making decisions on FBA, Foundation of Black Americans in certain areas, and and things that were happening to us, obviously over here on the U.S. soil. Like Kyle Gurley, people getting murdered on camera, stuff like that. So that was part of how I would say the delineation started. And just from that perspective, and just from just taking things all in, and being able to obviously listen, like Mary said earlier, just being able to listen and take things in, and not be so anxious to jump out the window or out the fire into the frying pan, so to speak, and just being able to see things for what it is, not for what we want it to be. And I'll land my plane there.
Thank you. Mansa.
Yeah, thank you very much. I wanted to address Judge Joe Brown. I was honored talking to him, but he quoted Muhammad Ali, one of the greatest men in our time in America. Ali would say he could murder a rock, injure a stone, hospitalize a brick. He's so mean, he make medicine sick. But he would say to those who would talk to him, he's the champion, he's the greatest, he's a millionaire. They say, Ali, you're a champion, but I'm still a nigga, brother. You know what I'm saying? You just want to, you got millions, still a nigga. You know what I'm saying? You got fame, still a nigga, brother. They would say, why you say that? Because in America, where all of the richest, you still a nigga on a plantation. And I say to Judge Joe Brown, wearing a suit and tie, you know what I'm saying, with your law degree, to Trump and to Trump and them Republican crackers, you a nigga. Them the Democratic crackers, you a nigga. And to say Africa's a shithole, it's a shithole right here in America. What about the millions of our people who are mistreated by an unjust system? What about all our brothers in Mississippi who are incarcerated in mass numbers for little or nothing? That's fighting down in Parchment Prison, who live in, with unsanitary conditions, no running water, being abused. All of the what's going on in Douglas County, Georgia? What's going on in DeKalb County, Georgia? What's going on in Cobb County, Georgia? Where black men are 50% of the 50% of the exonerations are black men. 50% of black men. So don't tell me putting on no damn suit and tie and being a good nigga is gonna make white supremacy stop, because it don't stop. It don't stop. And Ali would not agree with you. And he would be ashamed of you, my dear brother. He'd be so ashamed, because he never would call Africa a shithole. He went to Africa and loved Zaire. They were chanting to him, Ali, Boumaye. Ali would never agree with that foolishness. So don't tell us, putting on a suit and tie, do what we're supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? We won't face white supremacy. Trayvon
Well,
Martin didn't do nothing wrong. Let me finish, dear brother.
FYI,
Can I finish, brother? Can I finish, my
go ahead.
brother? Everybody else got to finish. Trayvon Martin didn't do nothing wrong. Emmett Till didn't do nothing wrong, but we still murdered. So what's a shithole is the conditions we live in America. They ain't got slack-jawed faggots in Africa. They ain't got heroin products, heroin addiction in Africa. They ain't got a crack problem in Africa. You look at the black male-female relationship. Well, 80% of our families are broken up these days. Don't mean brothers ain't good fathers, but they keep their marriages together. So don't judge your trinkets from your master makes you good. And I'm gonna conclude with this to say that you can't look at these parties and think it's gonna change. It's all white man games and white man tricks. And Trump showed you what a wicked, low down, dirty devil he is, that had this no good cracker, Charlie Kirk, who disrespected black man, disrespected Dr. King. You wouldn't be where you was, Judge Joe Brown, goddamn, if it wasn't for Dr. King. He denigrated Dr. King's legacy. And to take this cracker and fly the flag half-mast for a wicked lying cracker shows you what they said. I'm glad that cracker dead. They should dig him up and kill him a goddamn again. They didn't die hard enough. And Harriet Tubman, I
Well,
would say, wait, I'm finishing. Harriet Tubman,
you're
with
ignorant.
Hey,
You
Harry,
don't
well, you
have the
ain't- no, you know,
knowledge that you
you
claim to
ignorant.
have. Well, I'll
You
tell you
ignorant.
about it.
Wait,
Hey,
let him finish,
I'll
Judge,
tell
and
you
then
about it.
let him finish. Let him finish.
Harriet Tubman would have shot you Negroes want to stay on your master's plantation. She would have shot you, and I'm not ignorant, brother. You sound
You're
like an ignorant.
ignorant. You don't have the information.
Oh no, you sound like
Your
an ignorant old
information
Uncle
ain't even
Tom.
right. Your information ain't even right.
Muhammad
You're
Ali,
being a creature. First
Muhammad
off,
Ali,
my brother was
Muhammad
Muhammad Ali's bodyguard for 7
don't
years.
mean
I
nothing.
met the man.
Muhammad
I
Ali wouldn't
had
agree.
good conversation with him.
Muhammad Ali would not
I've
agree
sat
with you,
next to one of his wives at a
and
dinner
I know him
table for
too.
a long
In
time.
Chicago, I
I've
know him
had
too.
conversation. And the
I know him
point
too.
is, don't
I
be a
know him too.
good Negro in a suit. Just put your camouflage on. Soldiers wear camouflage.
But that don't
So if you
change the
want to
reality. You
do
just a nigga
wrong
in the
or
suit,
you
Judge
want
Wait, let
O'Brien.
somebody
him.
to
No,
leave you
Mansa,
alone,
Mansa, you gotta let
blend
him
in.
respond.
Mansa, if you want to have a dialogue, you got to have a dialogue. Let him respond to you.
I didn't get
Yeah.
to finish. He just
See,
cut
you're
me off. He didn't
talking
cut
Get
nobody
him,
else
ignorant
off.
because
Judge.
the bottom line
You cut me off. Nobody
is
off.
you're talking that stupid victimization shit
I'm not
that
talking. You talking
Ali
Uncle
used
Tom
to
shit?
run on people. He explained it to me personally. This
No,
is
I
how
know he
I
did.
used to
You
do it.
lying. You lying on
All
Tell
right,
Ali.
him,
I'm not
You
Judge.
lying.
you
My
lying on
brother's name
Ali.
is Clifford
You lying
Stewart,
on.
Wait, hold
native
on for a
You
Los
lying.
second. I
Angeles.
need
Look him up. Look him up.
Mansa. I'm gonna let you have
Clifford
the last word.
Stewart,
You just gotta stay on
native
your mic.
Los Angeles, California. Look him up. You can Google him. Now, he was Ali's bodyguard for a long, long time. Introduced him to one of his wives. And that's Dr. Clifford Stewart, by the way.
All right. So,
And
All right,
if
go
okay,
you
ahead.
go
want
ahead,
to
All
Mansa.
find
right,
out about a real badass black man, read up on him. Now, next thing you're dealing with is this. Quit mouthing mythology. Now, I was the last judge on the James Earl Ray case, and I know what happened to Martin Luther King, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. All right? Now, most Negroes wouldn't have the nerve to come up with issue written findings like I did on the subject. So don't even go there. If you want to play this little victim game that is so good and start talking about something that has to be taken into context of 50 some years ago, and by the way, that was Malcolm X that said that. What do you call a black PhD? Or he said Negro PhD, and he said the N word in America. Now, that's where it came from. So you can go there all you want to, but get it straight. Now you giving me some flim flam that goes along with that victim stuff where everybody's talking about it. I made a business for decades of representing criminal defendants. I got the youngest person in the world off death row. 45 years ago, young white boy, no, excuse me, young black boy accused of killing 3 white people in the South in front of an all white jury. Got the verdict overturned with a unanimous appeal from an all white Supreme Court in Arkansas 40 some years ago. So don't tell me about that. Most of the people in the penitentiary in Mississippi are there because they copped out.
all right. Can I finish? Can I
97% of
finish,
them did.
Judge? Can I finish? But you cut me off. You didn't cut
Yeah,
nobody else
I know,
off.
but get your
They cut
facts
nobody.
straight.
You cut,
Get your facts straight. I
let me
live, I
let me
live
finish. Can I?
11 miles from
Why
Mississippi.
why nobody?
All right.
Can
Now,
I finish? Can I finish now, dear brother?
go
Can I
ahead.
finish? Like I
Go
say,
ahead.
man. I said just because you the Republicans and Donald Trump's house Negro, don't mean
I
you
ain't
know
no house
everything.
Negro, folk.
Oh,
You sound like one. You sound
you
like a
definitely
Super
won.
Simon,
You definitely won.
victim of poverty pimping who ain't smart
You a
enough to
bootlicking, buck
figure out
dancing,
what you got
homogenized
run
Negro.
on you.
You a
I mean,
bootlicking,
this is
buck dancing,
basic down
homogenized
in the
Negro.
hood
A
game you're
disgrace to
going
Muhammad
for.
Ali. I know his wife and family. They don't agree with you.
Well,
I know.
good. But
I
I
know
knew
people that
him back 60 years
I know
ago.
that I know that those who know Ali personally. I'm in Chicago where he lived at. I live
Well,
not too
that
far
may
from his
be
home.
nice.
He would never agree with
But
you,
you
brother.
see, the bottom line is
Why do you keep
you
cutting me
met
off?
him
Why,
in a
you don't you
crowd.
all
I
this
didn't.
all this judge stuff? You don't have no respect. Let me finish. I don't want to kiss.
Excuse
I'm
me.
not
I
up there to
wasn't
kiss your
always a
ass.
judge.
I don't
I
kiss house
wasn't
Negroes
always a
ass.
judge.
I don't kiss no house Negroes ass. You be kicking your
Well,
behind.
you are a house
And
Negro
no,
because you
you a house
talking
Negro
like one.
because you
You
said
talking
that.
about
Saying
these
that.
Negroes that
I
the
mean, man.
masters used to program so they would think they couldn't escape. You like these
You
Negroes
sound
that
you
want
sound
to
like
blame everything but one thing. And you know what that was? That the white slave masters wanted you to believe that you were too weak to get out of it yourself. So there was always the
why am I being
slave
cut off?
master's power that would keep you in place. That's what's wrong.
Why am
Stop
I being
acting
cut off?
like a house Negro. Boy, get man the hell up, stand up.
Why
This
nobody
is
else
the
was cut off?
first
Let him
goddamn
respond,
century.
Judge.
That shit happened in the 19th century.
You have
It
no
tapered off. It's been
judge.
60
You
years
want to
since that stuff was deep. So grow the hell up, man up, and take responsibility for your situation, son. You can do it. You don't have to sit there
get
and start whining about criminality as a black condition. The victims of the black criminals off in the penitentiary are not white folk. They are other black folk. I know because I had to get a bunch of them out of jail.
all
That
right.
was how I earned
Can
my
you
living
show
for
some
a
discipline?
long damn time.
Can you show some
Representing
discipline
All
so I
right,
can
Judge,
finish?
hundreds
let,
of
let him
criminal
respond,
defendants.
Judge.
And 90%, 80 to 87% of them, 84 to 87% confess. They tell their mamas they didn't, but I was their lawyer and I knew they did. So you buying that game. And
All right. Well, I can
97.2
finish
to
now. You gonna show some
8% of the
discipline,
people in
Judge?
the penitentiaries pled guilty. Most of them don't have balls enough.
You go before
Like,
them
what
white
is this
folks in court. You
rapper
show
that is
discipline,
down
don't
there
you?
with that concert
When you was a judge,
Mansa,
on the
wait, just
steps of
mute
the
up, Mansa.
courthouse
When
in
he's done, you
Atlanta
could respond.
talking about he's overjoyed because Fannie got kicked off and everybody else who had the balls to stay in the case and go to get the jury verdict got acquitted. He's the only fool that copped out. See, that's what you're talking about. Get the balls together and do what you got to do.
all right.
Quit whining about it.
Can I respond? Now,
Go
when you
ahead.
were
Now go right
when
ahead.
you were
You the one tried to call me out.
yeah, well,
You
I
start talking
addressed.
about I'm some kind of Uncle Tom
Uh,
when your ass ain't done
oh,
shit.
yes, I have.
What have you done in
Yes,
your
I have.
life besides bitch and
I can say what
complain
Don't
I've done.
about
start
your
no shit, won't be
situation?
no shit, Mansa.
Yeah, well, look, you got old Master Peter up here. I got your Master Peter, y'all master up here talking.
Ain't no
Yeah,
Master
that's the
Peter.
master. That's
You
your
just
white man.
jealous of that white
And you
boy
show him more
because he had
respect.
a
You
message
show more
which was
respect to you show
man
respect
the
to a
hell
cracker than you
up.
show to your brother.
Man the hell
Hold
up.
on for a
That's his
second, Mansa. Wait
message.
1 second, Judge. Peter ain't no motherfucking master. He is my worker. I'm the boss, honey. I run this.
Well,
Just a little FYI.
that's George
So
Joe Brown. That's
I would
George
be
Joe
what
Brown,
I would
master.
be the head mistress of the
I didn't
house.
say you.
Ain't
I didn't
nobody's
say
master, fool. I don't bow down to
I didn't say
anybody, and
you
I'll
did, sister,
stand up. I
because you
don't
showing
care who
respect.
and tell them
But
about it.
you ain't
I
got
ain't
look how
got no
undisciplined
fear
yet.
on
You
that.
all
You
riled
do.
up.
What the hell have you ever done except sit there and
I
turn your
you don't
mouth
know what
up
I
and
done. You
ain't
don't
got
know
shit to
me.
back yourself up
You don't
with?
know nothing about me.
What you
You don't
did?
know
What you
you don't know
done?
nothing
Well, you
about me.
don't know
Well, you give
anything
me a
about
change.
me, and the
You want me
damnedest thing
you
about it
want to
is
change me?
you could.
You want to change? Want me to give you my resume or something? Like
Yeah,
okay,
what is it? Who are you? Ain't never heard
well,
of
you
you.
don't even know you
How
don't know
old
my
are you?
name.
How old
I'm
are you?
53.
How old are you?
53. 53.
Well, then you got no damn excuse to talk that
Yes, I
bullshit.
do.
What have you done
Brother,
in life? What do you do?
let me ask you a question. It's a shame. That's what shows that you are a real house nigga. When you go to court,
A house nigga
can I
fool.
finish?
I don't act
You
like
sure
one.
are. You
I'll
won't even
stand
you
up
won't let
to
nobody
anybody
talk. If
like
you really
this. What have you done? Except you got to run your mouth off on a cheap ass X space because your ass ain't done nothing out in the
yes,
public. What have
I've
you
done a
done?
lot.
Where have you been? What have you stood up for? Who have you challenged and backed
Let
down?
me ask you a question. When you go to the white man's court and it's a person,
I don't go to
yes, you do. When you were a judge, you will say you a lawyer. You got people off. So when you went down south and that judge said, "Oh, sit down, boy," you sat down. You followed the rules of the court. You can't even follow the rules of the sister right here. You know what I'm saying? You want respect, but you can't get
What
respect.
this is
the
this what
sheriffs are
this
black.
is the
The
judge
sheriff is
case.
black.
We,
The chief of police is
it don't
black.
matter. I said
The
when you
hell
went
you
to court,
talking about?
court,
75.
you followed those white man procedures and did what you're supposed to do. You was a good Negro and spoke when you're supposed to spoke. So be a good Negro now. Let me speak instead of
You
keep interrupting.
following the same white man procedures, bro.
I'm saying, but he go to court when it's the judge time to talk, he talk. When prosecutors, is giving their case,
Well, Mansa, he was the judge. What are you talking about?
I said when he was a lawyer coming up through the white man's system,
Everybody got to come up in a
But
range.
that's
Like
this
who?
the point. Look at the
Okay,
point.
so
I'm
Manson. No, no,
look.
no,
This the
Manson.
point I'm
Slow down
making.
one
Not
second.
running.
Look at the point I'm
Manson, let
making.
me
The
ask you
point.
this. Wait, no, Manson, let me ask you this. Are you a CEO of a corporation right now?
Yes, I am.
What corporation, honey? You got workers under you?
Yes, I do.
Top
Um,
flight security of the world, Dana.
No,
right.
that's your mama,
But did
Peter.
you? So did you wake up one day and just became a entrepreneur, a business, a successful business owner? No, you had to work your way up.
You're missing the point of what I'm saying.
No, I think
What
you're missing a point
you can
because
you're not
Don't
here.
call anybody a
you're
house
trying to be too
Negro because
literal.
you're acting like one.
House
You
nigga.
don't have the balls to
How
stand
about
up and
house?
tell
How about
somebody because
house
you don't
nigga?
want to lose your business.
Okay.
You don't want to lose your business.
No.
Okay.
Can I finish
All
what I
right.
was?
Are we done?
Can I finish what I was just saying real
Yeah,
quick?
You
go
got you
give
got
us some
60
more
seconds.
BS. Come
60
on, give
seconds
us
to
some more
land.
BS.
The point
Come on, give me some more BS.
the point I was making in the court of law. You were a lawyer or even a judge. When the prosecution is speaking, you didn't keep interrupting. So if
I
it's my turn,
interrupted if I felt like it.
no,
And
you
I
did.
shut some of
No,
them down and told
no,
them I
no, you
dared
did.
them to stand up. Stand up
They,
one more time. And
they,
you getting a
I,
free 10-day vacation.
I
I
said when
dare
you
you.
were,
Stand up.
I said when you were a lawyer, when you were a lawyer and the judge, when the prosecution was presenting their case, you didn't keep interrupting. You
I
followed
sometimes did if they were full of shit.
no, you didn't. Oh, you did.
I did.
No, you didn't. Let's stop.
Oh,
Let's
hell
stop,
yes.
man.
Most
No, you did.
recently, they put
You
my
was a
ass
good
in
boy.
jail for 5 days
Yeah, he
because I
got
told a
arrested.
goddamn referee he
Yeah,
was
yeah.
full of shit.
He got arrested
If
for
you
And I
kept
cussing
was
out the
you
69
judge.
years
maybe
old, but I did it.
maybe you did in a few occasions, but for the most part, you
Oh, I
observed
did
those
it
white
when
ones.
it was often enough.
No, you
I
did.
did it when it
You
was
Now
got
you
this
often
changed
far.
your
enough. I
tune.
didn't
Now you
back
say he
down for
never
one
did it,
damn
and then
thing.
he
He
told you he did
respected.
it. He said
He
no, it's
res-
only a
he
few times,
respected.
bro. Land your plane, man.
All right, let
Come
Master
on,
P let
dog
me speak.
bullshit. Now you got a
I,
business. You willing to open your mouth to your customers like you're doing now?
you goddamn right I do. I don't
Okay,
bite my
yeah,
tongue
I
for no
want to
damn
see.
customer. You don't know who I
You
am. You
got a
don't know me.
business.
You don't know me. That you right. I
You
got a
said
business.
you had a business.
I
What
have a
is it?
business. I have a few different businesses.
What
Few
is it?
different business. I have
Tell
a
us
few
what
different
they
business.
are. So
I
when
have
what you
I have.
said gets out, your customers can hear it. Because you
They can
ain't
hear
got
it.
the nerve. You
Let me hear.
talking
Let me hear.
shit, but you
Well,
ain't willing to put it
I got a
up.
song called "A Goddamn White Man," so you don't know who you talking to.
Oh, I
And I
don't
have a
need to
business.
call one
All
either.
right,
I don't
I got
need
to
to call
look up
one either.
Google my name right now. My song.
I don't want to.
All right,
Tell
you
us.
asked me a question.
Tell
Well,
us.
why can't I finish? Why can't I
Tell
finish my
us.
statement?
Because
You
you
have no
talking
discipline.
shit. You
You
talking
have no
about a
discipline.
field Negro
You,
who
you
doesn't
have
want to
no
get
discipline.
out of
Well,
the
show me
field
the same
because
respect you
you
show the
left
white
it on
folk.
the plantation
Trump,
in your
tell him to
misery.
be quiet. Master Trump, tell your Negro to be quiet, please.
No, Master
Master
Trump
Trump,
ain't saying shit.
All
Master
right,
He's
Trump,
we
just
tell
gon'
him to be
we
abusing
gotta
quiet.
the
move on to the
system.
next
Trump,
speaker.
And
get your
bottom
Negro,
line
Trump.
is, ain't
I didn't get my
nobody
60
my
seconds.
master but me.
You
You
I didn't
did.
get,
You
handkerchief
got more than
I
hand
didn't get,
60 seconds.
no, he
Nancy,
keep
Negro.
you've been
That's
going
interrupting
on
me.
for
all
like
is
That's
on.
15
so
minutes, bro. This
I'm
sad.
shit
on the
crazy.
damn
He didn't
Nasty
interrupt
plantation.
me.
work.
Don't
He
give
didn't,
me that
he
crap.
didn't interrupt me. Man,
Don't
take
give
Trump
me,
penis
yeah.
out your mouth,
Whose
Judge.
name is on this? It's my
Well, oh,
name on it, God damn it, not yours.
yeah,
Dana
all
is
right.
acting is the host for me. Get it straight.
Trump gonna whoop you when he gets back. You've been a
Trump
bad
ain't gonna
Negro.
do shit
All right,
except
Mansa,
ask me to
I
consult
gotta
with
move
him.
on to the next speaker.
I don't bow down to any goddamn body. I might
Yes, you
shake
bow down to Trump.
somebody's hand or be respectful to somebody that I have
Trump
respect
is pimping
for.
you.
I stood.
Trump,
Oh, okay. Go
pimped by
ahead.
Trump.
Go ahead.
Judge, I dropped him. It was getting
Oh, you dropped
pedestrian,
them?
and it was
Goddamn
yeah.
fool.
All right.
He be in Tariq
I
spaces doing the
hate
same thing.
fools talk
I
We
smack
gave him
Mansa,
that
15
don't
minutes.
have
We
the
gave him 15
nerve
minutes.
to
He got more
back up
time
what
than
they
anybody
trying
else
to
up here.
yeah,
put
it was
out
just
there.
too much, too much. I don't know. All right, go ahead. It's Dolo, Rod, OG, and El Hotep. Go ahead, Dolo.
Yeah, I don't know what that guy was doing. That was a perfect example of what that Pan Africanism does, though. It just throws a lot of confusion in the space and really don't get anywhere. But my one thing I have to say is about the government shutdown. You know, this happens pretty often, and I think we all probably should just try to take advantage of it. I'm sure a lot of the market is probably going to go down and things of that nature. So just keep your eye on that. Uh, as far as when we talk about victims and victimization and all that, majority of Black people, they're not really even cognizant of, how do I say, of the systematic oppression. They're not really blaming any of their downfalls on white supremacy or things of that nature. If anything, most Black people, if they are blaming anyone, is they're blaming themselves or their parents or some small microcosm of a thing like that. They're not really looking deep into the systematic differences we have seen in this country. So I honestly think when we start to just throw out the victim term so loosely, it can kind of deflect from what the ultimate goal is. And it's I believe it's a tactic that's kind of just put into a lot of our spaces or just people talking in general by the white supremacists, because when I'm just out and about, majority of Black people, they're not really blaming white supremacy for their downfalls. So I don't think we should really be saying that victim talk much, because a lot of us, we're just going to work, we're doing what needs to be done. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. But yeah, that Mansa guy, he kind of jumps in people's spaces and does that. So be on the lookout for that.
Yeah, he be in Tyrese spaces doing
Well, I
that too.
suspected that. But yeah, white supremacy should be called something
I
else.
thought we said we was not. Well, I guess
That's
people
why I'm
came in
going.
later when I made the
I'm just
announcement. We
clarifying
weren't going
something.
to.
It should be called something else. There is a historical record that cannot be escaped, but take it into context and build on it and learn the pitfalls of the minefields that are in front of you. Don't let it hold you back. See, it's a hell of a lot of difference between saying this is the historical situation and trying to say, I'm back 160 years ago and, this is what I'm looking at. No, it's not. Things change. So understand the process of change, move on. It's adversity, and the greater the adversity to overcome, the greater you are. So, that's the way things work in life for humans.
Okay. Are you done, Dola?
Yeah, pretty much. My thing is just like I said, most Black people, that's not what they're basing their issues on. They're usually going back to their parents or just some downfall as a child in their childhood upbringing. They're not bringing up something from the 1860s, because it's been a lot since then that has happened to us that we really don't even mention that often to even go that far back. And I'm not saying those things aren't real. I think all those things have definitely had a major effect on our community, but it's all trickled down to where we're disenfranchised in certain ways. But I don't think that is where a lot of our people are coming at as far as I'm concerned, speaking on their own individual mistakes that they're going through or shortcomings. That's all I have to say.
Okay.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Dana, I had a quick question for the judge, if I can.
Okay. Then
Um,
then Rod is next. Rod, OG,
sure,
and El Hotep.
sure. Judge, we saw the passing of Joanne Chesimard, Assata Shakur, on Friday, and there was a tremendous outpouring of love and memorial for her. Even I think it was Chicago's teachers union had lifted her up and venerated her. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on Assata Shakur and her history with the Black Panther Party and the Black Liberation Army.
He
And
never heard
if you
of
think,
her. Well, okay, isn't that kind of a loaded question? We got like three speakers. Should we go through the three speakers and then
okay,
let him answer that?
fair enough, fair
Yeah.
enough.
So these would be the last three speakers, and then Judge could answer that question. So go ahead, Rod. Rod, OG, and El Hotep.
I want to give
Okay.
appreciation to Low Key and my
Well,
favorite content
can
creators
I
at X
comment on that?
Spaces.
Let me comment on that. I don't know the lady,
Judge, I said you
so
could.
I can't really comment on that.
Okay. All right.
Okay, Judge, thank you.
No, I just wanted to say appreciate you, Low Key, Judge Joe Brown and Dana. I appreciate y'all. Y'all the most honest content creators on all platforms.
Thank you.
Judge, I really
Thank
wanted
you.
to say, to touch on what Miss Harriet said about, the government shutdown, how you mentioned that, this is how they make money off of what they do to, confuse the population. But Judge, how do you feel about this Turning Point USA movement, along with, the infiltration of these democratic sanctuary cities and what's going on right now? And for me to say that, I don't know how people keep missing the gems you keep giving us when you really telling the people, you know, at some point, go against the indoctrinated system and move with integrity and honest approach on being who you need to be with helping your communities. But what do you know more about this Turning Point USA thing? Is it a thing like how Black Lives Matter was at the beginning of our
No,
pandemic?
it's not.
Okay, so
What it is we have had a game run on us by the communications industry, entertainment industry, and the news industry. And we've been propagandized to believe that the dynamics, the what do they call them, the demographics of the country are a lot different than they actually are. Most people are normal, and they don't buy into somebody trying to tell them that something that most people consider to be freak activity is somehow normal. Boys with sports bras and panties on is not normal. All right. And girls and having to put up with boys in their restrooms and locker rooms and shower rooms is not normal. But when people start trying to say that, you can expect there to be pushback. And a mistake that was made by the far left is this: sometimes it's not just the message, it's the messenger. And there is a triple M thing. Martyrs motivate masses. And when you make a martyr out of the wrong person, you create a motivation for the mass of people. You can say that the deceased was effectively the equivalent of the great white hope, and they made him a martyr. That's a bad move. Next thing, sanctuary cities. For decades, there has been on the books a federal criminal code. It is Title 8, Section 1324, that makes setting up sanctuary cities a felony. And the mayors, the governors, chiefs of police, everybody, political officials who are attempting to set up sanctuary cities and give aid, comfort, transportation, encouragement to assist in evading apprehension and detention. All of them are committing felonies. And by the way, official standing and status is no defense under the action. I have represented people charged with that offense, although it's been 40, 45 years ago. So these people were grand juries to be given the task of investigating what they've done, will probably wind up getting indicted. And under sentencing guidelines, I think if you're on a low level, the cap is 5 years, but for most of the offenses involved, it would be 10 years as a cap, and that would be up to the guidelines rather than a plea bargain, since it would be in the federal system. So you're looking at Mayor Bass in Los Angeles, Governor Newsom in California. All of these people are looking at federal prosecution for felonies and conspiring to commit the felonies on top of it. So it's interesting.
Okay.
thank you, Judge. That's the gem, y'all. He keep giving us. Pay attention, please. He's been in this shit and he keep telling us over and over again. Just watch where you live at. Watch your people and how they move and the rules that they break it. Thank you, Judge. Thank you,
Well,
Miss
let me
Dana.
tell you something's going on right now. I witnessed a little bit of. The National Guard is in Memphis. Memphis has been held to be the 10th most dangerous city in the world and the most dangerous in the United States. So Trump sent the National Guard here. So all of the local yokels are saying, wait a minute, you can't take crime from us. That's an issue we use to do the poverty pimping we do. What? Yeah, but what are you going to do about cutting down crime? You know what they did?
They had the U.S. Marshal deputize these guys, so they're in plain clothes now. So they're U.S. Marshals, which is within the law, so they're not even National Guard. They are Bat Masterson and Wyatt Earp, so to speak, or Bass Reeves, the black guy that they based the Lone Ranger on. So we've got a bunch of U.S. Marshals in Memphis tonight, and they've already been making arrests, and they've gotten some guns off the street that weren't supposed to be out there.
All right.
So while we whoopee.
I want to go to OG El Hotep. And we do have two new speakers, and that's it. That's Big Daddy, and Brother Vincent. So go ahead, OG.
Okay, appreciate it, Dana. You guys can hear me, right?
Yes.
Is that TV in the
All right.
background or no?
Yeah. Hang on a second. I was expecting a little bit more banter before I got up. But anyway, I just maybe got a couple of questions. Maybe not so much for the judge, maybe for the room. My thing is, I can't figure out why the Democratic Party is having so much trouble riding the guidelines of the immigration laws. I mean, if you ride the guidelines, then there's no room for the mass immigration and the numbers that there are, because everybody have to go through the same steps. And, it's the steps that you need to go through, and I don't know why it is that all those steps had to be escalated or either foregone. I'm not understanding what's going on with that. Why we can't ride the guidelines, because immigration is a no-brainer. I mean, because it's been around for eons. Okay, it's been
Can I
around.
interrupt you and tell you real quick? It's the law. What happens is the president is the chief diplomat for the United States, and had Kamala Harris and Tim Walz been elected, Kamala Harris could have declared anybody that they let in during the Biden administration to be a refugee and granted them asylum. She would also be entitled to grant a retroactive date back to when they took office, which would have been January 2020. There is a statute on the books that says when somebody has been granted asylum, they don't have to make a formal application to become a citizen and take the courses, pass the test. They automatically become a citizen within 5 years. So 5 years from then is this year. They would have been able to vote in next year's midterm elections. And supposedly they would have been grateful. But you see, the problem is that Al Qaeda hates us, ISIS hates us, Hamas hates us. Iran hates us. You've got North Korea hates us. China is trying to control us. So for 4 years, you let millions of people in these categories across the border who have been able to go wherever they wanted to go. They don't have to hijack airplanes and crash them into twin towers like doing another 911. They could carry the military grade explosives across the border in their backpacks, be given rides to all of the sanctuary areas by all of the idiots that were violating Title 8, Section 1324, planted the explosives, and they don't have to commit suicide. All they have to do is wait for instructions, flip the switch, and blow stuff up. And by the way, there is a high alert that there is some concerted activity expected in the next few months relative to that. So we just invited a bunch of enemies that ordinarily would have had to go through a lot of changes to sneak into the United States. Now we invited them across in terms of millions. We've got 20 some thousand convicted murderers. We don't even know where, but we know they came across. We've got more than 15, depending upon the records, to 30 some thousand convicted sexual offenders. We've got tens of thousands of people in cartels who are committed to criminal activity. We don't know where they are, and we invited them over to do business in our country with no supervision and no way to trace them right now. It's really
Okay,
sick.
so why would anybody do that? Why would
Well, that's the
what?
point.
How,
So,
how
in other
come?
words,
Well, no. What about everything else that's being suppressed and all? How come that could be have been
Well, the
suppressed.
press, I said part of the problem is that the communications industry and the news industry, as well as the entertainment industry, is in bed with these people, or at least the parties that want to gain influence because they have a social agenda they're trying to impose as a theology. That's the play. The other thing is this is the first out of the six censuses that I have participated in as an adult. The one in 2020 where they did not ask if I was a citizen. Trump wanted them to do that, but they blocked him. So you couldn't ask. This is the first time in the last 100 years they haven't asked that question. Why? Because if you count the people who can't vote, California does not only not lose congressmen, New York doesn't lose them, Illinois doesn't lose them, Michigan doesn't lose them, New Jersey, New York don't lose them. They actually gain a few. So these people who are trying to pass this ideology off on the rest of the country now have more voting clout without having to be accountable to the people that have contributed to that being able to vote. So it's an interesting game they're running. That's part of the Article 1 of the U.S. Constitution. Every 10 years, there shall be a census conducted, the primary purpose of which is to apportion representation in the House of Representatives. That's a quote from Article 1 of the Constitution. So if you don't ask, this is the first time in the last 100 years they haven't, then California, New York, New Jersey, Illinois, Michigan, et cetera, can pick up extra representation in the House where their agenda gets passed. That's the same thing with trying to grant citizenship to Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. is an urban entity, has about 300,000 people. There are a lot of cities in America with more population than that. So what you want to do is give two United States senators to 300,000 people plus two congressmen so that really weird leftist philosophy can gain more clout in Congress. We should not allow it because if the people there want to vote, then what they should push for is being seated back to Maryland where they can vote in the Maryland elections and get voting members in the House and in the U.S. Senate.
That
See,
sounds
that's the
like it's a
game.
lot of natives in our Congress and Senate that's not Native Americans. Then, like
Yeah, that too.
natural.
That too.
Like, so
I
that's
mean,
If they
why that's
comply
like
with the
that.
citizenship requirements, they play by the rules. But the problem is, a lot of people these days are trying to jump the line and not go through what everybody else goes through to
now,
become a
Okay,
citizen.
so
which group is the judge that you talking about play by the rules?
What do
Because
you say?
which group is it that you're talking about that plays by the rules? Because as far as I can tell, everybody has their flaws. You know, Republicans
Yeah,
have
they do,
flaws,
but
and,
nobody's
and, the,
trying
and the
to
Democrats
invite
have the
in.
flaws as well.
Yeah, but see, the Republican Party, you can't blame them for letting in ISIS, Al Qaeda, Hamas, Iran, North Korea, People's Republic of China.
Yeah, but we can blame them for stigmatizing this other conversation we had called victimhood. Okay,
Well, no, no, no. They're
they
trying to tell
perpetuated
you
that though. They're
they're
the ones who
trying to tell
perpetuated that
you.
victimhood because
But
every time
see,
we
look,
can
look,
complain
look.
about
let
something
them
that
let
took place
one
in
at a
history,
time. Like let
right,
open.
Listen,
right.
listen, listen, listen.
Every
Let
They're
time we
trying to
Judge
talk
get
finish
about
rid of
something
saying.
that happened in
DEI. They
history,
try. Wait.
Judge,
we
let him
mention the word
finish.
Go
victim,
ahead.
and the victim is in the dictionary for a reason. Okay, victim, it has its place. Okay, but it doesn't have a place in every single conversation that comes up concerning the past, or it doesn't have a place in every single conversation that comes up when somebody is telling how they were mistreated. Okay, there's no
You got
victim.
mistreated.
Black people
There's
gotta
plenty of
stop
people being
acting
mistreated.
emotional leverage, bro. We gotta stop that emotional shit. Like,
No,
move
no.
forward.
Well, how did
Emotions.
you get
Everybody got
mistreated?
emotions. Everybody got
How'd you get
emotions.
mistreated?
Okay.
Just curious. How'd you get mistreated?
Oh, I had my head slammed on the back of a car by a police officer. Of
Mm-hmm.
course. Yeah.
Was he
And,
black or
and
white?
it was white.
Okay, I've seen black cops slam somebody's black
Okay,
head on the
but
back of a
listen,
car.
this was in the 70s though. Okay, this was in the 70s. At the sort of at the height of these uh you know incidents.
50 years
But
ago.
yeah, but listen, the thing is, everybody knows about the history. So why is it that a part of it can be labeled victimhood when it actually happened?
Well,
There's no
victimhood,
victimhood
let me
when it
say this.
actually happened. So to me, with this argument about the victimhood thing and all that, this is what helps perpetuate the stupidity that goes over to the Democrats trying to get people into this country. Okay, they
Well,
both
yeah.
going hand in hand. One party talking about the victimhood, and the other party talking about, well, we're going to replace the victims with some new people. Is that what it's supposed to be?
Well, see, let me put
And
it this
regardless
way.
of
Neither
It's a rhetorical
regardless
neither
of the
question.
emotion,
party,
Now, OG,
neither
I need to just to respond because I need to get to other speakers. So let him
okay, very
respond, and then I'll give
briefly.
you 30 seconds to have the last word. Go ahead.
Very briefly. Neither party is saying victimhood. I'm saying victimhood. A few other black people are saying victimhood because we recognize it for what it is. If somebody has oppressed you, you do what the Chinese did. China was the largest country in the world, still is, and it was totally oppressed by the Western world. Now they're the second most powerful nation on the planet. Do you think that they would be that way if they lapsed into, oh, look how we got mistreated and we expect the Western world to make us whole? No, they said, we know
they
what you
did that.
did. Now
They
watch us
downplayed
now.
their own. They downplayed their own economic production. That's how they did that. They downplayed. They
Well, it may
underbidded
be, but they
themselves.
got it
They
together.
underbidded
So
themselves
now
in the
they have,
economic trades.
well, now to illustrate what they did, go in your kitchen and find something that's not made in China.
All right. So are we done? Because I got to get to other speakers. I'm getting tired. I got to get up
Okay,
early in the
well,
Yeah,
morning.
yeah,
I made
yeah.
my
Go ahead. I'm
introduction.
I'm I'm
I'm
good.
leaving.
I just wanted to throw that out to the air. That's all.
Okay, well, it's a
All right.
good
So
point.
I want OG to have 30 seconds so he could finish what he had to say.
No, I'm good. I don't need 30 seconds. I'm
Okay.
good. I land
All
with
right.
everything that's taking place. Said already. That's fine. Thank you.
Thank you. El Hotep. Dana, what's up? Peter, what's up? Judge, how Hi. you doing? Hope
All
everything's
Chilling,
right.
man.
good.
Good to see you.
I feel that. I feel that. Let me start with the judge. Judge, that art of dialogue interview was pretty good. I liked it. I'm probably gonna watch it again. That being said, um, in that interview, you got a lot of, I would say, you got a lot of people kind of triggered, I guess. Um, why do you think that is? Why do you think a lot of people who may not agree with what you said gotten triggered by that interview? Pete, I wanted to ask you something since you brought it up. What are your thoughts on Asada Shakur? Do you think she was a domestic terrorist or a reveler? Oh my goodness, I'm getting tongue tied. A reveler. Oh my
Revolutionary.
goodness. Thank Revolutionary. you. So do Reveler, you have two freedom questions? fighter. Wait, Thank you you. have two questions, right? I have one for the judge and then All one right, for so Pete. let the Yeah. judge answer the first one and then Peter, and then you ask Peter that Then I had question. one for you too, Dana. Okay. I had So one
Give
for go
me
ahead,
your
Judge.
question
Answer
for
his
me.
question real quick. Yeah, why do you think people were triggered by your art of dialogue interview? I mean, it's okay to disagree with it, but I seen a lot of comments. People was calling you Sambo and all of that. I mean,
Oh,
so
they're so caught up in being pathetic. Okay, what did I talk about? Kamala Harris,
I,
I'd already done that at great length. What did I talk about? Biden, done that at great length. What did I talk about? The poverty pimps, we know how bad that is. That's supposed to offend you. Why? That you're supposed to get away from a party that you show loyalty to, unwitting loyalty, devoted loyalty to, that you can't get away from, even though they aren't advancing your interest. Okay, who cares if I offend them? I want to offend those people. I talked about Tyler Perry and a few other things, and Tyler Perry is the one that started Medea and got into legitimizing this tranny nonsense that's so poisoned boys and girls 101 A and B. That's truth. So if you got offended by somebody telling you the truth, shame on you. I just don't lie. And what has a funny thing with what I tell you, you may not agree with it now, but you will in a little bit because you'll see how it actually pans out.
All right. Good. Now, what was the question you have for Peter? Oh, his thoughts on Asada Shakur. I wanted to get your thoughts on Asada Shakur too, but does he think that she's a domestic terrorist or a revolutionary
I
freedom
don't
fighter?
know who she is,
No,
so I
she's
can't
talking
say
to No, that was for
anything.
Pete. Yeah, that was for Pete.
Yeah, from what I've read and from going to Rutgers and actually speaking to people who went to the trial, I say she's a domestic terrorist, and I say that her being involved in a shootout that killed a state trooper on the New Jersey Turnpike with an individual named Clark Squire, also known as Sundayata Akoli, who did over 40 years in prison, plus all the bank robberies that she was accused of doing and the other individual shootings she was involved in. Where there's smoke, there's fire. So that's what I think about it.
All right, all right. Judge, I would say look up that case. It's kind of interesting. But
I'm familiar with the
that'll be
case,
for
but I don't know anything about the woman as an individual.
So you had a okay. question For me too, or no? Yeah, yeah. What was your thoughts on her? On it. If you were familiar with everything, I just kind Yeah. of wanted to get your So thoughts I on think your opinion since you brought it up. she's a revolutionary fighter. All So right, all right. that just happened in the 70s. Then she never been charged or convicted of any robbing in any banks or being a bank robber. There, just because you're part of an organization, let's just say someone in that organization got convicted of that doesn't mean that was you. So people always want to slap stuff on that. But during that time, so this is going back to the earlier conversation, we was talking about revolution and what's going on in Africa and the revolution in Africa. See, here in this country, it was a time where people firsthand experience of revolution. Now, whether it was Black Panther or Black Liberation, which came after the Black Panthers, you also had the Weather Underground, those lunatics, right? But at the same time, when you talk about Black liberation, it was different. There weren't like the Weather Underground or these other radicals. It was different. So yeah, she's a revolutionary, and she did not get a fair trial. She said she never shot the person, and somebody did. The other officer that survived said she wasn't the shooter, but she was found guilty. Yeah, And we all know I did how kind of want to bring that up. during that time, especially in the state of New Jersey, because I was born and raised in the state of New Jersey, number one, very racist, especially when you go south, when we talk about the court system. And during that time, she was not going to get a fair trial. And Black people, who were revolutionaries, they was about the shits. They were hijacking planes, flying into Cuba or other countries or whatever. Not saying that was a good thing, but I'm glad she was able to break out and live her life in Cuba. And we all know the history of the Jersey Turnpike, I-95, which is a very racist history. So if they're going to call her a domestic terrorist, then they need to call every state trooper in New Jersey that patrol I-95 a domestic terrorist. But she's not a domestic terrorist because she did not threat anyone. She did not terrorize anyone. And she never even shot that cop, but she just didn't get a fair trial.
She was convicted of first degree murder, and I
Appreciate
would
that,
imagine
Dana.
she would also have a felony murder rule.
Being convicted, there are a lot of innocent people that are convicted every day. So the fact is that she did not get a fair trial. So she was convicted, and then she was also beaten up, harassed. They was threatened to kill her when she was in prison. So I'm glad that how she was able to break loose or who helped her. I'm glad they was able to get her out and ship her ass to Cuba, and she lived the rest of her life out there. So RIP to Ashada Shakur.
Let me say this. Legally, at the time this happened, I was running the public defender's office in Memphis. I was the boss. I was in the defense lawyer business. I represented people there and in private practice, which I was in by the end of the 70s, who did the crime, but they just couldn't prove the case, so I walked them. Now, what I did in the last few days, since I was ignorant of the circumstances, I read up on the case, and it's kind of more along the lines of her being an accessory, sort of like if the James and Younger gang held up some banks and there was somebody that was part of their gang who was watching the horses but didn't walk into the bank and shoot somebody. If they catch him, they're going to hang him just as quick as they would have Jesse and Cole Younger. So it's called being an accessory. But
Judge,
apparently
wouldn't
she
it
got
would
convicted and
Well,
escaped, and I
she
don't
wait,
know.
hold on for a second, because they didn't get pulled over because of a bank robbery. They just got pulled over because on the turnpike because of a tail light. So,
Well, that may be.
but
Uh, I had a case I was in, just to tell you the truth. It was a guy and a woman that held up these banks, and what happened, he'd walk in to back her up. She'd hand the teller a note. They'd pick a mail teller, and she had huge, perfect boobs, and she would pull open her blouse, flash the boobs, and out of 10 bank robberies, the male tellers couldn't do anything except describe her boobs. They couldn't describe her face. They got caught because he made a mistake during the getaway.
all right. So,
I mean, stuff happens.
all right, I want to get to Big Daddy
wait,
and
hold on.
Brother
I just want
Vincent.
to ask the judge.
Oh,
The judge wouldn't this implicate a felony murder rule? So if someone dies in the commission of a
Exactly.
felony,
That's
yeah,
it.
right,
In
okay.
other words, if you're part of a crime and somebody who is a victim of that crime or is around while the crime goes down and they die, then everybody there is going to be an accessory, and that's called murder in the perpetration of a felony, to wit, robbery
well,
or
how
armed
many? So
robbery, and
what
that
is the
means
sentencing for that? Do you get life
it's
in
a
prison?
first degree
Do
murder
you get life
situation.
in prison?
I would
Yeah,
imagine your sentence just as the principal.
yeah. I've
Even though
had
you did not
people.
plan, you that wasn't something that
Yeah,
was
you don't
planned.
have
You
to
did not
if it's
partake. That somebody
if
you
it.
was with committed a crime.
Yeah, if
So
you're an
then now I'm
accessory, you're
being
part of
let
it.
me finish. So then now I'm being charged as this on the same level as the person who
Yes,
killed the officer, and I didn't know he
yes.
was going to kill. All he did it on his own.
Well, it doesn't make any difference. If you want an accessory, you're charged with the
How are you an
same thing.
accessory when that wasn't something
Yeah,
you
but
agreed to be a part of?
I've had juries impose the death penalty on people
No,
for
no, no.
that.
How are you an accessory if that's something you were not agree? You weren't
You
in
Let's
know,
agreement.
you don't have to. No, you don't have to agree that somebody is supposed to die. It's if you're there is part of the robbery, or you're an
They're not
accessory. You're
robbing
the getaway.
anybody.
You're the getaway driver.
They weren't
You're the
robbing anyone.
lookout.
They weren't getting it. Nothing was happening.
Well,
It was no that they got
the
this is
point
what no,
is,
this is what happened. One second, just slow down. They were driving on the turnpike in New Jersey. The cop pulled them over because of a faulty tail light. So you pull them over, you ask for the license registration. They told them to get out. So now you have the recanting of the story of the officer that survived and her and another person. And the officer that survived said she did not shoot and kill the other officer. So again, they got pulled over a tail light. Now, if I'm in a car with someone and the police pull us over on the side of the road, and the person I'm with decides to go crazy or whatever and shoot and kill, I'm not an accessory to something because they chose to take it upon themselves.
It depends
well,
if there's firearms in the vehicle. You have what's called constructive possession if they're in the area that's accessible by all the occupants of the vehicle, right?
But
So
that's
if
right.
they if
That's
but
exactly
if
right.
go ahead,
if the
Dana. I'm sorry.
gun
You were
that's
in,
in the
you were
car
explaining it.
again,
You
if
go ahead.
the gun that's in the gun that's in the car, the gun that's in the car, if it's registered to the person that shot and killed that person. So It's another thing if it's an illegal gun, but if the gun in a
It
car
doesn't
is
make any difference
registered
whether
to
it's
that
illegal or not.
person, if the gun in a car is registered to the person who shot, let's say, the police officer, that your passenger, of course the passenger will probably be, will get arrested. But when I'm talking about going through a trial or something like that, they're not going to be um put up on charges for first degree murder when it wasn't their gun and it wasn't planned and they weren't responsible. So if we
So
get
Yes, they
pulled
are.
over,
I've had people go to trial in my courtroom, or I've defended people who were charged with just that.
if
And
we
in
get
my
pulled over,
courtroom, since I
if
wasn't
me and the judge is
representing
in a
them,
car and we get pulled
yeah,
over and
exactly.
a police officer asks us to get out the car, and I get out the car, he get out the car, and I'm on one side, and I'm complying with the officer. The judge is not complying, and the judge chooses to shoot the cop. Now, I'm most likely probably is going to get arrested because of what went down. But when the evidence is presented, I'm not going to get charged on first degree murder because I was complying. This asshole over here decided to shoot and kill a cop with his gun that is registered.
Okay, now
but that's
stop,
not the
stop,
facts of the
stop,
case.
No,
I
stop,
that
have
is
the
stop.
facts.
okay. So wait.
The
So
Fifth
wait.
Amendment says you
One
have a
second,
right
Judge.
to
One
remain
second. One
silent.
second. One
You are
second.
presuming
One
that the defense put on proof. It
one
doesn't have
second,
to.
Judge. 1 second. To your point, Peter, in the case with Ashada Shakur, that gun in the car was registered to that person that shot that officer. That wasn't an illegal gun. She didn't have a gun. She didn't shoot that officer. So I just laid out the exact same story. It's just that you got
And people with those
Let me read
exact
it real quick.
people with very similar circumstances are sitting in a penitentiary doing life, and at least two I'm aware of because they were tried in my court got the death penalty.
I'd like to read the facts really quickly. It'll take me 30 seconds. The stop occurred 200 yards south of what was then Turnpike Authority Administrative Building. Akoli was driving the two-door vehicle. Asada was seated in the right front seat, and Zayed was in the right rear seat. Trooper Harper asked the driver for identification, noticed a discrepancy, asked him to get out of the car, and questioned him at the rear of the vehicle. With the questioning of Akoli, accounts by participants of the confrontation begin to differ. According to initial police statements, at this point, one or more of the suspects had begun firing with semi-automatic handguns, and Trooper Forrester fired 4 times before falling mortally wounded. At Akoli's trial, Harper testified that the gunfight started seconds after Forrester arrived on the scene. Harper further testified that Forrester reached into the vehicle, pulled out and held up a semi-automatic pistol and ammunition magazine and said, "Jim, look what I found," while facing Harper at the rear of the vehicle. The police ordered Asada and Zayed to put their hands on their laps and not to move. Harper said that Asada reached down to the right of her leg, pulled out a pistol, and shot him in the shoulder, after which he retreated behind his vehicle. Questioned by prosecutor C. Judson Hamlin, Harper said he saw Forrester shot just as Asada was hit by bullets from Harper's gun. In his opening statement to a jury, Hamlin said that Akoli shot Forrester with a .38 caliber semi-automatic pistol and used Forrester's own gun to execute him. According to the testimony of state police investigators, 2 jammed semi-automatic pistols were discovered near Forrester's body. Akoli drove the car, a white Pontiac Le Mans, with Vermont license plates, which contained Asada, who was wounded, and Zayed, who was dead or dying, 5 miles down the road. The vehicle was chased by 3 patrol cars, and the booths down the turnpike were alerted. Akoli stopped and exited the car, and after being ordered to halt by the trooper, fled into the woods. As the trooper emptied his gun, Asada walked toward the trooper with her bloodied arms raised to surrender. Akoli was captured after a 36-hour manhunt involving 400 people, state police helicopters, and bloodhounds. Zayed's body was found in a nearby gully along the road. According to the New Jersey police spokesperson, Asada was on her way to a new hideout in Philadelphia and heading ultimately for Washington. A book found in the vehicle was said to contain a list of potential BLA targets. Asada testified that she was on her way to Baltimore for a job as a bar waitress.
okay. So wait. They said it was a book full of what?
The Black Liberation Army targets.
Yeah.
like
Okay.
the people they were going to assassinate.
Really? Okay. But so in the book, I'm pretty sure they checked off allegedly some of the people they already assassinated, but she was never charged with no assassinations ever. And anyone in
No, she
that
was she
car.
was charged in this
Well,
murder
no, no, no,
though.
no, 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 no. I'm talking about the book that's supposed to have a list of people for them to assassinate. So I guess they haven't assassinated anybody in that book, or was some assassinated already, and then they was going to finish off the rest. Let me say this, Peter. Whatever you
Wait. The
reading,
targets don't
whatever.
mean
Hold on for a second,
assassination.
Judge,
They
because
can
you're not
mean
even familiar
robbery.
with this case. Whatever you
I
reading,
know, but
Peter.
I'm just
Well,
saying
no,
when you
give me a
say
second,
targets,
Judge. You're like I said, you're not familiar with this case. You're not familiar with New Jersey. But
language.
let me just say this, Peter. Whatever police report you're reading, and this is why I'm saying she didn't not have a fair trial, because what I read, she didn't shoot, because who shot at her? How did she reach for a gun and shoot at the officer, but then she got shot at the same time? See, what you read wasn't even making sense when they're talking about a shot of Shakur. And I could guarantee you 1,000% fucking state troopers lie, police officers lie on report, and I don't care what color they are. And we're talking about the 70s. You're talking about black conscious, quote unquote, revolutionary conscious black people. So again, she didn't get a fair trial. Whatever police report you're reading, they falsified a lot of that shit, and it doesn't make sense to where she reached out on her right side, pulled out a gun, shot the state trooper in the shoulder, but he managed to pull out his gun and shoot her in her shoulder. That makes no fucking sense. So
No,
Why?
Harper was saying he got shot, and that then at the same time, Forrester was firing shots at her. So imagine if there was like a standoff where she pulls out, she gets shots off at the same time, or within seconds, she also gets shot by the second trooper, the one who ultimately died by the hands of a Coley.
I know you who you're
She had
saying
a
I
Harper.
can
handgun.
We're
see
talking
that.
about a shot of Shakur. What are you talking about?
Harper is the trooper. There was two troopers that were on
Yeah,
the
it was two
scene. The
troopers,
backup,
but Harper said that she did not kill she did not shoot anyone. So
correct? No, she said that she actually shot him. That Harper was
and
shot
then who
by
shot
her.
her?
Forrester, the one who ultimately died by the hand of a
Well, how
Coley.
did he
A Coley.
shoot her? Well, so then why would she shoot the one that wasn't shooting at her?
She shot the
uh,
wrong
They,
one.
they were trying to. They were trying to. According to the police, they were just going to execute the both of them because they didn't want to get
That makes
apprehended by the
no
police.
fucking sense. So if somebody's pointing a gun at me to shoot me, to kill me, why would I turn and shoot somebody else? I would shoot the person that's holding a gun at me first.
Nope, nobody was holding a gun. They ordered them out of the vehicle, and then they said, "Don't move. Keep your hands in your lap." And at that moment, the trooper Harper testified that instead of keeping her hands in her lap, she retrieved a gun from her right side, pulled it up, and fired, hitting him in the shoulder. At the same time, once that trooper, the backup trooper Forrester, realized what was going on, he returned fire and hit Asada. Also hit the other individual, Zayed, and killed him. Then, while that was happening, you had a Coley who fired the mortally wounding shots at Forrester and then supposedly executed him with his own handgun. But you know
But
what?
I don't know what
I'll
happened. I
pull the
wasn't
trial
there, but I
transcripts
seen
from
stuff like
Pacer.
that. I've been eyewitness to stuff like that happening. I've seen it,
yeah, well, yeah,
but I'm not
pull
saying
those
she did
trial
it. I'm
transcripts,
not saying she
and
did it,
also
but
I would like to
yeah.
read her defense attorney transcripts as well. So I would never sit
Her
up
defense
here.
attorney is
I would
actually a
never sit up
professor at
here. First of all,
Rutgers
I'm not
too.
going to sit up here and believe a fucking word of a New Jersey state trooper, particularly coming out of the damn 70s, even going into the 90s. So miss me with all that. And a damn sure not going to believe a goddamn prosecutor or DA in whatever fucking county they was in South Jersey. And it could have been in North Jersey. So no, that I'm not buying. But
I
listen,
think this was in Middlesex in New
that's still
Brunswick
South
area.
Jersey. Who gives a fuck? So let me go to Big Daddy and then Brother Vincent. Go ahead, because I'm tired.
Judge.
Yes.
Okay. For, the judge and both the co-hosts. It's been a great show. But I noticed from the last couple of weeks that you have some Al Sharpton disciples on the first 2 hours, end up bogging down the show.
not bringing real substance to the show itself. And I'll land the plane there.
Well, that's obvious. So that's what I said. Yeah, I think that interview I recently did, I commented on that. But yeah, you noticed.
All right.
Yes, past
I
couple of
called
weeks.
him
Yes,
Chicken George Sharpton.
yes.
And
Uh, uh, uh,
FYI FYI, motherfuck those two troopers that got shot and the other one that got killed. That's where I'm at with that shit. So fuck them. Cause you know what? I want to see their career reports. I want to see how many black people they pulled over, shot at, or killed. I want to see that. So
The trooper
fuck
who
them.
died was only on the job for
I
three
don't give
years.
a
He was
fuck.
like
Fuck both of
31
them
years
goddamn
old.
troopers. Fuck
No, I
them.
understand. You're emotional. I got you.
No, very, very,
I hear you. Listen,
and have every right to be. It's
everybody has a right to their
it's
opinion.
a controlled emotion, but and honestly, it's not really that I'm emotional. But when I say motherfuck those state troopers, yeah, I stand on that.
Good.
Well,
I
I
mean,
stand on
Peter.
that shit.
Everybody knows that those
I've
those
said
troopers instigated that.
Yeah,
Everybody knows
Peter,
that
you
the
can't
troopers
believe law
instigated.
enforcement in this country. You can't just believe what they say
well.
because they'll falsify
Let me
reports
say
all the
this.
time.
As always.
It's a history
Peter
of that.
knows that. Peter
Let
used
me
to be
say
with the
this.
mob.
Yeah,
Let me
it's a
say
history
this.
of that.
Let me
They
say this. 1968 in Los Angeles on Adams, right across the street from Johnny's Pastrami. Several people, three people I was acquainted with, got in a shootout with LAPD. One of the three got away unscathed. Two cops got shot, but they killed two of the assailants. The one that got away was caught. He wound up getting acquitted, but I saw him do everything they accused him of doing, but I was not a witness in the case, or at least wasn't called for one, and I wasn't about to open my mouth. That was back when we had Black Panther Party, Black Student Alliance, Black Student Union. So he got acquitted, but everything they accused him of doing, he did. So just because LAPD was what they were at the time, and we looked at them as Gestapo, straight out of Nazi Germany, uh, doesn't mean they could prove the case, but it doesn't mean they were lying about it.
I
So
Judge,
hear
what
I
you,
do you
mean,
think
But
about
no.
OJ?
but the point when we're not getting no. Please, Peter, stop. Like, no, we're not doing that right now. The point is, when you look during that time, especially during that time, motherfuck the police. So, they were all liars. So they were domestic terrorists. When you talk about terrorizing black people, black communities, they were killing black people or being an accessory to it that we would never know. Those cases we would never know. So let me get to the last speaker, Brother Vincent. Go ahead.
Hi, Miss Dana. Hi,
Hello.
Judge. I was listening. Yeah, I was listening to like a week or two ago. Judge was talking about the mayor of Memphis. He said he was Boule, and I already know, like, when I see a black candidate running for something, I look at what they're attached to see if I'm gonna support them, and I know not to really support them if they're attached to the Boule. So what are the telltale signs out there? Because I thought it would be like if they're the Greek fraternity or sororities, or they're like a Mason or Eastern Star or something like that, or one of those society things. So if that doesn't automatically put them as boule, what is the telltale signs that they're in the boule, so I can know kind of
what
not to
they look
support
like and
them?
what they sound like. And by the way, masonry is about 5,000 years old. So it's all over the world, and it dealt with how to take some peasant and turn them from making bricks to an architect who could design and get a temple built. Now, it's not what most people think, and those who know don't tell, and those who say they know and tell don't know. The thing with the fraternities and sororities, it didn't start off boule. It is now because they don't make them hard. They used to be very brutal because the frats and the sororities, not the Divine Nine, because there were only 8. That latest one is just plain straight up party boule. But what was going on is they were masquerading as white Greek social organizations so they could fight American apartheid. They were made hard so if a sheriff caught them, they wouldn't give in to the torture. When Emmett Till got killed, they called down Withers, who was a photographer and also a cop in Memphis, one of the first modern black cops in Memphis, and a guy named A.W. Willis, who was an attorney, and his partner, Russell Sugarman. Both of them were alphas. I talked to A.W. Willis, who was given 3 rolls of film by Withers, as was Sugarman, and they were told to get to Illinois, get the film developed at a Walgreens, and get it to the Illinois governor so he could get Till's body back. Well, Willis said he got captured by one of the local sheriffs and they tortured him for several hours. He said he was able to resist the torture because it wasn't as bad as what he had to go through pledging. They don't do that now, and if you blow at one of them, they're likely to go freak. So it's not the same, and it's got an old tradition of fighting segregation even on to death. The whole idea was is you die before you told on your fellows, and it was a cover for what you were doing, and that's not what it is now. So things have gone the wayside. Masonry is simply training somebody in being an engineer and an architect and giving him character in the process and setting up a situation where due to the internal relationships people could trust each other. That's why so many folk in the 17th, 18th, 19th, and early 20th century were into masonry because they had proven that they could trust each other. And the initiation was very hard and brutal at the time. So if you violated the trust, they'd kill you, literally, up until very recently. So it's like Omerta with a certain organization rumored to be from Italy or Sicily. You didn't squeal and you kept the confidences. And that's what it was about with masonry. But it's not all of this devil worship or anything like that, because that's not even part of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you say they have like a look a certain way or talk a certain way. So what type of ways they talk and look should
Well,
I
I
kind of
mean, you won't
look
be
at?
able to tell. If I'm by the way, if anybody's
Uh,
Masonic and you're high enough, I send a message to you by what I said, but nobody else would know what I was saying. You don't.
There's degrees to it, right, Judge?
Yes. The degrees are interesting. See, there was no writing, so they typically hold the payout, which would be in grain, so many hides or so many pieces of mutton or whatever it might be, and they would typically hold it in some kind of sanctuary or some kind of shrine. So the more you knew, the deeper into the shrine you could get. And if you could get all the way into the inner shrine and be a Shriner because you had all of the passcodes to get there, you got the highest level of compensation.
okay, because I remember you were saying the mayor of Memphis, he had like people surrounded
Yeah,
him.
he's a punk.
You said he was
He's a
boule
punk.
out.
See, okay, Doc
Okay.
Harrington was a prize fighter. He's like 6'7", undefeated as a Golden Gloves champion. He used to literally, when he was mayor, punch folk in the chest, and had been known in his political career when he was superintendent of schools to have knocked somebody out, literally at a certain nightclub known as Hawaiian Isles. I was there. Actually, they were fighting over a woman, and they ultimately resorted to becoming friends again. Okay, he was elected the mayor 5 times. He would hang out at Houston's all by himself. Me, I'm a national celebrity. I'm a criminal court judge. 16 years I got elected to. Okay, there's another somebody in there that holds high office. we'd walk in there. This clown would walk in with 6 to 8 uniformed cops because he was scared to come out into the community by himself. See, there's the difference. He's scared, and he looks like Urkel.
All right.
And that's how you tell. They got this little unmanly thing about them. It's like the way they present. They're not people who walk into a room and have charisma. They get everything they have from the office they hold, and they don't really get themselves into the office. The people that they're fronting for get them in.
Okay. Oh, okay, yeah, backed by somebody. Well, thank you, I Thank you,
Okay.
Brother appreciate it. Thank Vincent. y'all. All right, great space. Thank you to all the speakers. Peter, you want to say
Dana, I have
anything?
one question for the judge before we go. Diddy is getting sentenced on Friday. The Judge Subramanian, denied his request to have his conviction set aside, so they are going to stand until it goes to the Second Circuit. The feds are asking for 11 years for Diddy. They've filed numerous victim impact statements from Cassie and this other woman Mia, who actually wants to speak at the sentencing. The defense is asking for 14 months, which is basically time served, so he'll go home on Friday. His guideline range is not that high. What do you suspect is going to happen on Friday? If you could, kind of read
The
the tea
federal
leaves.
judges are pretty much tied by the sentencing guidelines. The ones that I know who are federal judges, some of whom I mentored, are very upset with that and have been for a long time. I've represented quite a few people charged with that. Their typical sentence, and they were typically pimps running girls from West Memphis, Arkansas to Memphis, Tennessee, down into what's known as P or Pussy Valley in Mississippi. And they got busted for that. Usually what they wound up getting is 1 year. The person who was the first individual prosecuted in the target for the so-called Mann Act, Jack Johnson, got 1 year, but 5 years for escaping. So Diddy, from what I have picked up on his background, would probably be on the low end of the guidelines. In other words, a person with multiple convictions and a long rap sheet. So, witness statements to the contrary, there isn't much that can be done if a judge tries to deviate upwards, and there's not a whole lot of wiggle room to deviate down. So if somebody doesn't follow the guidelines, yeah. And what you saw essentially was the pimp game with a modification that they charged him with transporting or inducing across state lines or international borders for purposes of prostitution, was because the initial act didn't have those words in there. It was transporting females across state or international lines for, quote, illicit purposes. What does that mean? So they said later, about 50 years after the act went into effect 114 years ago, that it was for prostitution. But the offense also would apply to anybody that hires someone to, say, do a porn video that's shown on Pornhub. So you see Kim Kardashian and Ray J with their $4.95 a pop video on Comcast, Xfinity, and in most major hotels and motels over the last 25 years. Whoever put that together would be subject. Well, Ray J and she did. That would be subject to Ban Act prosecution as well, but they're not. So,
So, Judge, in regards to this, though, how there's 3553 sentencing factors that the judge has to take into account, right? And so part of those factors are making sure that there's uniformity in sentencing. There's no unwarranted sentencing disparities. So how could Judge Subramanian go so far above the guideline range into what the government is asking for?
Look, you don't usually get what you don't ask for, but that doesn't mean you get what you ask for. The prosecution for political purposes is always trying to, not always, but typically grandstands. In other words, look what we did. We convicted somebody for this very serious offense, and one of these judges, he let this guy off. Well, the sentencing guidelines, like you say, there are a whole lot of things to consider. And what happens is you go down that list, and then at the end of it, you just add the numbers up. We had it for the state of Tennessee, too. So every time I sentenced somebody, I'd have to go down the guidelines, and we had 2.5 pages, 2 pages of that stuff. So when you got through going through the 40, 50 some questions, you added up the numbers, and what the numbers were determined what the sentence was.
All
And
right.
then you
So
consider whether
you
to
think he'll come
extend it.
home
Now,
Friday?
his motion for new trial is mandatory. Every single criminal conviction has to have a motion for new trial to give the trial judge the opportunity to correct any errors that he's responsible for or that he can correct that went on during the trial. That's mandatory unless somebody waives it. So
So
motion for new trial being denied is routine. I haven't seen, I know in
Yeah, I need to
8
go to
years, the
bed.
first
So
8
stop
years I
asking
was
him all
on the
these
bench,
goddamn
I
questions
granted,
at the
I
end
think
when you
out of,
should be asking him this in the beginning of the space. I gotta
I
go to
was
okay,
sleep.
trying
well,
to.
I'll finish this very briefly. In the 8 years during the first term, I got elected to criminal court judge. I think out of all of the hundreds of trials I had, I may have granted 2 motions for new trial, and it was really egregious based on incompetence or ineffective assistance of counsel more than anything else. So it's not rare, but it is routine.
All right.
So, Judge, you think he
No,
comes
stop
home
asking
Friday?
questions, Peter, because
He
I,
might.
I don't want I'm not trying to have a conversation at the end of the fucking space. Like, why would you wait to the end of the space? Why you ain't have this conversation in the beginning?
I was trying to, but
No,
I
you
wanted
wasn't.
to
You
give
ain't asked
def.
shit about no
I
fucking
what
Diddy in
I
the
was trying to
beginning.
give deference to the other speakers.
You
That's
was more
why I
worried about
waited.
fucking a shot of
Well,
Shakur.
I've given him the answer, Dana. That's it.
Yeah,
It's
but
Thank
he
you,
now
Judge.
he wants to
and
go
then
in
answer
details.
the
I'm
final
fucking tired.
question.
It's late. Shit. It's
14
like going on
months.
2 a.m. over here.
Okay, well, just hold on.
It ain't
In
even
the
fucking
scheme
midnight
of
over here on the
things,
West Coast.
14 months would be quite adequate.
He should come home.
All right, that's it. Everybody have a good night. Say something, Judge. Say goodbye.
Well,
Going
again,
forward, don't ask no fucking questions, Peter,
again,
at the end of the space. Anything
again,
you want to ask, so
again.
you
Hold,
better do it in the first hour or
just
two.
let me
I
stop.
am going to
Let
give you the
me
floor. I just needed to let
just
him
let
know that.
me
That's a
stop.
PSA. Shit.
Stop. Just let me. I think we can summarize this evening by something somebody just said in the last 10, 15 minutes. We had too many Al Sharpton types coming at the beginning, and I ask folk, please don't go there. But what I was attempting to elicit was solutions to problems, a pathway forward, and a realization that there's no way short of doing what our Pan-Africanist was suggesting, which is leave the country, which is not a viable option for many people. You're going to have to work with the folk that you find yourself surrounded by. So we need to learn the art of negotiation, the art of alliances, the art of what they call log rolling. In other words, I'll help you roll your log up the hill if you help me roll mine. That's called bipartisanship. We do not belong to any political party. There is a distinct difference between being loyal to an ideology and being loyal to a party because the parties often switch ideologies. So when you evaluate ideologies, pick one that will actually get you someplace and be effective rather than picking one that is subject to propaganda taking place that plants itself in your brain so that you are supporting something that is against your interest. Be critical, analytical, reasonable, rational, logical, detached, and objective in assessing what you should support. And understand when there's something bad that needs to be corrected, the cure is often not very palatable. So it's like you get fat and out of shape. You go to the gym to get back in shape. Those first few workouts are very hard. They get easier. So when somebody's trying to say, this is what we need to do to get someplace, it's not going to come easy when you have slipped very far. So with that, have a nice week. Enjoy yourself. Be safe and read.